you son of a bitch!
Well, I'm very happy to have RE Porter on the case here of all our Overwatch cases. We've swapped things up for our final series of the day. I'm here with Lizard, T-Gov, and Tsunami. Tsunami, do you do your Overwatch cases?
Every day.
Do you actually?
I log in for them dailies. I do it for the love of the game. I don't need any incentives. I do it for the justice. That's all. That's all the reward.
How
that I
many do
need.
you get?
I do the 3. I do the 3 a day.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And every
You know
single-
you can do 5 a day if you have max behavior score,
Well,
Lizard.
I mean,
Yeah, I definitely know that
I
because
do.
I get 5 all the time. No, I started doing them right when they just came out. They were fun, but then I realized people are mostly just reporting people that they disagree with. So I gave up after a while.
But no, that's the whole point.
not guilty
Yeah,
are just as important
but
as
I want
guilty.
someone guilty.
I know you do.
That's the point.
If I don't get to send someone to Dota jail, then what am I doing this for?
Exactly.
I still feel like our Dota jail should be, you know, if you play unranked, right, and you're 7-8K,
Yeah.
we should be playing up against the people who have been reported. So rather than having single draft or whatever as your low prio, you should have to play against people who are like 5K higher than you. So then just getting, you know, don't smurf.
Well, so you're
Don't be
saying
bad.
like if I report someone for smurfing,
Yeah, and they
and
are.
they get found guilty,
Yep.
then their punishment should be that other people smurf?
No, then they
Because
play
then
up
they
against...
report that, and then,
Oh,
you know, it's a
Vicious
never-ending
cycle.
circle.
Ban them all. Get rid of them. Gone. Done. Easy as that. Bye. All people who play with them. Bye. See ya.
With
That's
smurf.
it.
That's
Simple.
harsh.
No.
You're
Get them out.
looking like a very sweet person, but
I
you
hate
rule
there's-
with an iron fist.
That's why I actively play unranked. I'm basically there's like Wagger, Sing Sing, and we're like the 3 groups, and we kind of sift through unranked, going through, finding the bads, and we're like, bam, get out of here, bam, get out of here. It's our go-to mission. And then watching Wagger, Sing Sing, they know us 3, the group, we are there purging the Smurfs from the community. So
Well,
get rid of them. Bye.
T-Gov is very passionate about the culling, which is a good thing because today it is a day full of cullings. We have 3 series in total. We're about to head into our final ones, but all 3 series today are in the lower bracket. We've already said goodbye to the first start of the day, to OG, just now to T1 as well. And I want to take a moment to say, like, that of course there will be more eliminations because at the end of the tournament there's only 1 team left standing. And I know that there's a lot of people fans of players, and they're very excited to see their team do well. And when they're doing well, they're very excited for them. But I'm here to tell you that when your team's not doing well, they also need your support. And I think it's sometimes a little disappointing to see people just abandoning ship the moment something goes wrong. All the players we've seen today, they've had a long road their entire career leading up to this, but it's not the end of their career. They'll move on, they'll move forward, and you gotta support them through thick and thin. What good is it if you're a good weather supporter? Then you're not a true supporter at all. So get your stuff together and you know, support your idols even when things get tough, or rather more like the best, support them the best you can when things get tough. And Tsunami, things get tough at TI.
Don't be a bandwagoner.
Yeah.
I think Dota's kind of unique in how people are more likely to follow players than teams. People are like, oh, this is my player. You know, he goes to other teams, then I'm going to start supporting this thing. And so as a side effect of that, I think we don't have that same galvanized team pride that a lot of other sports and esports both do. But then support your player. You know, just because other players on the team you may not care about as much, they're all a unit. Your player is the one that you support, and the team that they're a part of is one that you should support as well.
Yep, and I know that there's tons of people supporting the following 2 teams that will appear on the stage. Our next lower bracket series, Eastern European Brawl, VP, and T.Spirit. For the second time today, T.Spirit will take the stage. We saw them earlier today having a clean series against the 2-time champions OG. They were able to just waltz their way through, or rather skewer their way through from the looks of it. We also have a little bit of a change to hairstyle on the Yatoro. We still don't know what it means, but we will find out eventually. But this squad is one of the youngest teams here at the International, but they don't look it. They look like veterans. They've been playing like veterans, and we can say the same thing about their opponents, Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro here also already guaranteed top 6, but they really want to make it further here at the International 10. And in their way is T.Spirit, of course. But Virtus.Pro, there were some question marks before the tournament started. Were they, or were they not, going to be able to deal with the pressure of playing on stage? We saw them 2 majors before this where it didn't look as good as people were expecting. But it seems like the lessons they've learned in this year, they put into practice, and there is no sign of those nerves. These guys are all first-timers, and it's the only team with all first-timers that is including their coach. But they have no cares. They are fine. They are golden. They are top 6, and this is the first time since 2013, since TI3, that there will be guaranteed an Eastern European teams in the top 4, Tigov.
Whew. It's really good for the region and also for Spirit as well. You know, throughout this entire season, VP's had Spirit's number. Spirit has lived in the shadows of VP. It's like, maybe we could be the best. No, bam, VP's there. A little bit of trivia, guys. When do you think Team Spirit last beat VP? Organization-based, not players, just...
And do we beat a game or series?
I mean series. So in regards to series wins, when was the last time Team Spirit as an organization beat Virtus.Pro? And Spirit was formed in 2015, so that's the earliest you can answer. Go.
He's using his brain right now. I trust Tsunami.
Never.
Okay, and for you, dear Lizard?
2015.
There we go, good lad. So, in the 6 years that they've played, they have played 30 series against each other. VP has won 29 of those series. Spirit has won a single series against
I
Team
was
Spirit.
close.
And fun fact, it was the first ever series Team Spirit played against VP when they formed, and that was a Ramses roster back in 2015, MDL 2015. Since then, Team Spirit has never beaten Virtus.Pro. So this series, it means so much for the region because Spirit, of course, want to try and be the #1 team, but also as an organization, they can maybe finally beat VP in their current form.
Eastern Europe has a pretty solid power dynamic. You know who the top dogs are. Team Spirit were pretty much up to this TI, never that team. I would still, I guess 2015, because actually Tigov told me about it earlier, but if he didn't, I would never actually do it.
I see how it is.
I seen it.
I had to check with someone. I was like, okay, my man, you think this is cool? Oh, I forgot you're on the panel, brother.
You got so close that you weren't previously informed.
This is, I'm already very, very distrustworthy of this people now.
All right,
But also being from that region, right?
Yeah,
Playing with a lot of those teams, I had some
Okay.
insight for sure. That's it.
but they did, okay, just to add maybe, they have won at least 12 games. So it's 59 games to VP, 12 to Spirit. But in series count, it is still very gruesome in regards to Spirit being able to actually match up against Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, because I want to talk about that because, of course, this roster of Team Spirit has only been around since December 2020. So everything before that, you know, this team, they don't care about that. But this team has, of course, faced Virtus.Pro in the DPC League. They played in the same DPC League. Virtus.Pro, as many of you know, they came easily first in both seasons. And Spirit was actually one of the few teams that was able to take a game here or there, Tsunami.
Yeah, in grand total, VP lost 3 games throughout both seasons of the DPC.
Crazy.
And Spirit didn't even get second place in Season 2. It was Navi
Correct.
that got second place in Season 2. And so the fact that Spirit is in spitting distance maybe 3 months ago would have been impressive to me. Now, on the main stage, I would never have a favorite in this situation. You asked me like 3 weeks ago, I've been like, VP got that free. How's Spirit even going to make it to top 6 in the first place? This isn't even a discussion to have. Now, after seeing Spirit 2-0 OG coming in hot into this series,
And type, easy
and
games, OG.
game, they
Like,
typed it. They're feeling themselves. I might have to
Yeah.
consider Spirit to be the favorites.
You
now.
could hear it in the interview as well that Miposhka gave. He literally said, "We are not the same team that Virtus.Pro has faced earlier. We've improved a lot, and this is going to be a different series than those that they had during the DPC season."
Yeah, we could take a look at the playmakers of Virtus.Pro and T.Spirit. And I say playmakers, I both basically mean the position 1 and 2. So the carry and the mid. Both of these players for each team have had tremendous success. Toronto, Tokyo, 2 rampages, 5 godlike streaks. It's very, very impressive.
They need to update Yatoru's profile picture, however.
Yeah,
They do.
very true.
They do.
Yeah, shave that head. Let's get some Photoshop on that job.
I want to know why.
Gotta know. Maybe
gotta
it's their
know.
secret power. I'm also curious. This must be one of the youngest main event
Oh,
matches.
You got a
I
stat
tried
for
to
me?
look this up.
Okay.
I tried to look this
There
up.
he is.
It is very difficult to judge this because
Sure.
obviously TI1, 2, and 3 had a lot of first-timers, but it's been so long that there were nine first-time TI players on the main stage at the same time.
Wow.
And then also playing for a guaranteed position 4 on the main stage. Like, that is unheard of. It is incredibly good for the region, as we already pointed out, incredibly good for the game, and incredibly good for their wallets as well, because top 6 is nice. You get 1.4 million. It's not bad. If you lose here, you're still good.
That
However-
feels good, man.
Something.
This series, on the line, $1 extra million.
Oh, just an extra mil.
Just an extra
Just
mil.
an extra
Just
mil.
a house each, lads. Off we go.
Easiest BO3 of my life. Give me an extra mil.
I mean, Virtus.Pro got to practice yesterday. When they played in the upper bracket semifinals, they were playing for an extra 2.2 mil. And obviously, they lost that series against PSG LGD. But I hope they learned something from that with the pressure tee.
Yeah, that's the key thing, is the fact that VP is coming into this series getting completely swept out of the upper bracket compared to, Spirit. They themselves were doing, kind of the dumpstering the number on OG. So it is kind of the tale of 2 different paths to get to here. Normally, the upper bracket teams, it's a bit more of a fight, right? It's more like a 2-1, or at least there's something close. But that was a VP that we've never really been seen thrown out of the game that quick. So it really puts VP to the test in kind of, the additional coach they have, how they're kind of preparing, and they failed at majors before with this type of thing, so they need to really bounce back because you do not count Spirit out in this game.
Are you guys just expecting a bloodbath? No
Yes.
VG
Yeah.
gaming, just
Absolutely.
standing,
Yep.
defending the high ground, defending the triangle, none of that.
Although-
just full playmaking
I hope
constantly.
so.
I will say that there will probably be a similar thing to like we just saw with T1 versus Vici, where it's not a tournament meta, it's just an internal series
Oh,
meta.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see that definitely as well. There's a fun fact for T.Spirit. We have, well, before the event started, T.Spirit, the organization, did a couple of rapid-fire questions for all their players, and one of the things was they basically named 2 things, and you had to choose one of them. Pizza or hot dogs. or
Word
something like that.
association.
I will tell you what was said very soon, because first, it is actually time to get the draft going.
T.Spirit versus Virtus.Pro. Game 1.
Because that is also us. Hello. All right, so before this tournament started, one of those 2 options that were pointed towards most of the T.Spirit players was upper bracket or lower bracket.
Okay.
And I mean, most players answered upper bracket. There's no surprise there.
Sure.
However, I think star player of this morning's game, definitely star player of this morning's game, Collapse, he said lower bracket. And I think we saw this morning why I feel like that extra pressure. I mean, obviously the hero helps. Of course, the hero gets banned. Look at that Collapse with the
Instantly.
Mars and the Magnus removed from the pool. But that extra pressure, for some players, Lizard, it just propels them to the next level.
Not only for T.Spirit, it looks the same for Virtus.Pro, I would have to say. They are just looking so much better under pressure, and they're youngsters, which is insane to say. They're inexperienced, both of these teams, and yet millions are on the line, and it doesn't matter. And this Tidehunter Weaver opening, it was obvious. It was coming because Mars and Magnus were banned out. Magnus had to go after the OG series, so they go with the standard minus armor meta, but bam, Virtus.Pro, they answer it with the Medusa after the opening of an Elder Titan.
Yeah, I like this from VP just because of they're like VP is a very aggressive team, and it's like OG and VP are the kind of same vein in how they play. So for Spirit, just beating OG in that kind of counter-aggressive playstyle, then moving into a VP series, you can kind of feel the same theme in their draft, right? So just pick up this kind of bigger hero, be it the Mag, the Mars, or a Tide, just park that in front, and you're gonna be able to play a pretty secure game. And that's why when VP, they pick up a Medusa, they're not playing the same style that they played yesterday, right? They're not going for these bristlebacks and these kind of run at you, try and break down the map quickly. It's kind of that game security style here, and I think that's what VP need to lean on in the lower bracket right now is don't try and be that over-aggressive team. Try and play like how the upper bracket teams are playing and just give yourself that security.
And Tsunami, do you like VP more when they have this bristle, or do you like when they actually have late-game stability?
I'm trying to remember what they leaned on heavily during the DPC, because I think that's what's going to help them most if they can get back into where they were kings. So I feel they were more often than not going for more early mid-game style, but that's also probably due to the competition that they had in the Eastern European region was not quite as high quality as they've faced now. So I appreciate the idea of maybe taking a page out of the upper bracket books, but I think that they should stick to their guns, and a Medusa first phase gives me pause for sure.
Well, I will tell you that this will be the 5th time that Virtus.Pro has picked Medusa at TI, so including group stages, of course. And the previous 4 times were all wins. So they got good memories on
Were
this
they
hero.
all first phases?
I
Do you
do
know?
not know that,
So-
because that is something I do not write
So
down.
this is a mind game. It's not only the fact that Medusa has been pretty strong throughout the tournament, in some games at least, it's the fact that you're throwing a problem at them that they didn't expect very early on. Like you're instantly picking a Medusa, here you go. Now, are you going to stick with your guns and go with the same game plan that you had earlier? Or do you actually have to reconsider a little bit and get yourself out of your comfort zone just to be able to counter her? That's a real question here.
And it also, sorry, I was gonna say, it also helps with Toronto Tokyo, right? Like he's been popping off with these void spirits, and again, like the spirits of TI. You pick up these carries that don't really care, like a Lifestealer or a Medusa, an Ursa to some degree. They're gonna be able to shrug off this type of mid lane pressure. And unless, of course, the game goes really bad at the start and they snowball over you, but like it does give VP that security. And you know, they ban out these more annoying heroes that can just get on top of Medusa and remove them. Also buying Diffusal Blade, right? Slark, the Ursa. If you get on top of that Medusa, you're not really going to have a good time in that first 20, 25 minutes before you maybe get that butterfly.
And I would actually like for T.Spirit to take your advice and pick any one of these spirits so far, Storm and Void Spirit that they've banned out. I would love to see.
Okay.
Never mind. That was
good.
Yeah, it's still good. It wasn't really my idea. I thought they might go for something like an Ember, just play with Medusa and Elder Titan, skip the backlines. They don't have a support that can catch you, but obviously Virtus.Pro, they do have 2 extra picks now to deal with that.
And the key thing for Spirit right now with these heroes, it's the Invoker unlocks their ability to move towards objectives. If you don't have that innate mana burn on Medusa, if she gets that like Manta +1, she'll be able to park herself there. The value of the Ravage, the value of Weaver, they're fully removed because you're never going to be able to kill this kind of tanky hero. So you put that Invoker there, and it gives you that window. You get the early maybe Vessel, a Solar Crest, a Drum, and you're just going to be able to really amp up that one carry to throw into the Medusa. And that's why you see VP, they go for a Kunkka because, you know, he himself can stand in front of these early
Kunkka
fights.
is, don't you think, Tsunami, an unsung hero of the last 2 days?
Yeah, but that's because we haven't seen Eastern Europe play as much. Eastern
true.
Europe loves Kunkka, and so them relying on it is fine. But yeah, I will agree that for as anecdotally successful as I've seen Kunkka be, I don't know what the actual win rate stats are, I'm surprised that he's not emerging more as we see more team fight oriented comps show up. And on the topic of team fight, I would not be surprised to see a Faceless Void be paired up with this Invoker, depending on how T.Spirit want to play this Weaver.
Well, this Weaver so far for T.Spirit has only been played as a position 4, and they do really like the Tide Weaver lane in itself. So I would imagine, unless there's something crazy going on, I think, you know, game 1 of a best of 3, stick to your guns,
you see
play
this
what works.
Kunkka, you probably don't want to have a core Weaver. There's Catch with the X marks the spot, there's Lion to follow up. You still could go for something crazy like a lot of minus armor plus electricity plus Weaver, but it's not that necessary for you. And they go with the Vayne. I think this is one of the strongest position 5s for T.Spirit. They've been playing Bane on Miposhka, dodging those Laguna Blades.
Oof,
And
so good.
Lion's
Yeah.
finger of that was dodged. There's actually a clip in which he saves his carry with a Shadow Demon Disruption. With Bane, it's even easier.
Yeah, especially because players, of course, like to do like the 1-2-3 build, so you're trying to get Nightmare as high level as possible, have that additional cast range. It means you're going to be able to, from a safe distance, have that save. And right now, it just feels like they're going to pick up this one core on Spirit that's going to be kind of pushed into the engagement, cushioned by the Tidehunter with the Solar Crest or the Ags on Weaver to kind of save the core. And then you got that Bane as well. So very much Spirit looking to just group up early after an okay laning phase with their pretty decent heroes. And that's why you see VP really just kind of doubling down on anti-aggression.
Yeah, but the issue is them going for the Bane now means that the Faceless Void was banned out, and Yatoro's options, I guess like you were saying, so there are different approaches on how an Invoker could enable a carry. You said that, you know, Alacrity just buffs in general are nice. I still feel like you want a strong teamfight ultimate because I imagine the main incentive for picking Invoker was EMP against the Medusa, burn off the mana shield. She's going to be able to walk away from most of this because, yeah, the Tidehunter Ravage should be able to keep things in control for a little bit, but I want the carry to be able to provide some control.
You're 100% right. I feel the same way that Virtus.Pro's team fight actually looks way stronger at the moment. Meanwhile, T.Spirit is a team that needs to outplay you and stretch you out in these team fights. And they do have spells and abilities that allow you to do that. You sleep one target, Weaver is completely somewhere else, Invoker is isolating a Lion, let's say. The Ravage follow-up is decent. I wouldn't like seeing a high cooldown dependent carry as their last pick.
Could do something like a Sven, because against ET, Agi cores aren't great, but with Warcry...
Let me just toss a hot take out there. Versus Medusa, I always like a sniper.
I was thinking a Drow, but yeah.
Drow also
I mean,
an option.
with throwing out hot takes, I think Team Spirit is one of the few teams that pulled out an Arc Warden.
Oh,
That's
there
true.
you go. Actually, that's a pretty decent idea.
So right now, like if you look at Yatoro, he's played 16 different heroes in the 23 games that Spirit have played. Like he has a very wide pool in the carry, which is very helpful in this scenario, right? Like the heroes that we're mentioning, you know, Arc, you can delay the game against a Medusa. You can never really siege as VP. If you go for a Drow, you have really good kite in the fight to try and kill off that Medusa. You don't really care about her items, but you are afraid of.
I just like
Kunkka or
Arc
Lion.
so much now that Shiver has mentioned it. I really like the pick. I would love to see it on the side of Team Spirit. Arc for me is not. He's not a real carry. He's this niche pick that you can pick in 1 out of 100 games and just feel like that one.
What Spirit is GPK playing? Because of course, you know, Spirit has last picks of VP right now. They need to pick the generic hero.
I believe all of his options are pretty much banned out. Do you really think that he would get his hands on an...
There's Ember, Storm's banned already.
Wait, GPK, he's playing Kunkka.
Yeah,
playing
Kunkka
Kunkka.
most likely
yeah,
for
of course,
GPK.
yeah.
So I think we're looking for a
it's offlane
DM hero,
yeah.
and they will go
Underlord,
for an
sure.
Underlord.
But DM did play offlane Kunkka in the DPC. Whew, getting myself out of that one. So yeah, carry time for Yatoro. What's he thinking? This is the best part of any draft because you set your carry up to pick the hero he wants to play, right? So if you lose, you can blame him.
You know what's interesting? Monkey King is still in the pool. Like that hero has been touched.
Like I said, it's a series meta
It's
in
a
this
serious
one, not a
meta
tournament
indeed.
meta.
You were completely right. I still wouldn't mind the Arc. We're probably not going to see it. They picked it only once so far. Monkey may be an option. Not perfect, but could work for them as well.
Yeah, other highly contested tournament heroes also. Like Terrorblade's completely MIA. I don't know if you would. I don't think you would pick it.
No,
this
you
game.
wouldn't. No. So right now, the reason why Spirit's taking a bit of time is one, the tournament lies on the line, and they do go for the monkey. Yeah,
it's easier, right? This hero is way easier to execute with than it is with an Arc Warden. And it doesn't put you on this weird timing later on in which you're defending high ground versus a Medusa, you're not even pressuring her, and the moment you go towards the low ground and abandon your defense, you get picked off. So Monkey is much easier to play.
I guess with the Monkey King as well, like you still can buy that Diffusal Blade to really punish the earlier timing of Medusa. The question is, like, we've seen Echo Saber, Basher, BKB be like the staple of the games at least we've seen today. So it'll really be on Yatoro. What type of game is he feeling? If they're winning early on, maybe they do go for it and just try and force that timing that they get, or he can just farm up.
And
it's fine.
isn't Monkey historically been extremely good versus Underlord in the lane?
Yeah, for sure. And also Medusa, because Medusa, you see her as a hero where she wants to stand her ground, A-click, get the split shot everywhere. Of course, Monkey King, you put down the Wukongs, you don't really want to stay in that area. So yeah, this is an excitingly close draft, and I think Spirit, they need their good lanes to kind of catapult themselves into the game.
All right, Team Spirit need good lanes in this game one. How about you, Lizard? What are you most going to look at for this game to come?
I can agree with that. I think that on the side of Virtus.Pro, you need GPK to be making those moves because no one else on his team can. So it's all on him.
I think the cooldown dependency on Spirit is going to be their downfall. I think every single time that Ravage is down, then VP are just going to mow everything down because there's nothing really stopping them from proceeding down lane to lane.
Yeah, we've very much seen Spirit and teams like this sometimes struggle against these big defensive style of lineups. And VP right now, like they just lost to this exact kind of ethos in the draft, right?
That's true.
You farm your lanes, you park up, you wait, they run at you, and you just kill them over and over again. And then when you get that one fight where you have the advantage in resources, you cross the river and you assert your dominance. And that's kind of on Spirit now. They've got to see this type of gameplay, which is currently dominating all of the TI meta, and they are now up against the wall, up against the strongest kind of strat. And they have to make sure every move they make is, disciplined and executed to the highest level because they will get punished.
All right, it seems like the pressure is on Team Spirit for game one of this best of three. Let's find out how it's going to play out together with OD Pixel and Insania.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, game one here between Virtus.Pro and Team Spirit. Insania, what do you make of the two drafts here so far? Are we going to get all the action that you'd expect from two teams of this region?
I absolutely think so. I think this is probably the opposite of the last series where you have two teams that are going to be running at each other non-stop. And they have the heroes to do it, right? You have this Elder Titan that's going to be really, really strong. Weaver and Tidehunter that are matching up against each other.
Well, let's see. Let's find out already. VP ready to rock and roll here with a smoke straight off the bat.
Yeah. They want to get aggressive, make sure, so what's important here for them is to get vision out in the start, right? They want to try to get the right setups so they have the lanes that they want.
And what sort of specific matchups are you trying to avoid here, do you think?
I think they want to try to avoid getting like any sort of weird lane setup from Team Spirit. They have the Monkey King that they could match up 1 versus 1 against the Underlord and try to get an edge that way. And I think they want to make sure that, everything's going to be normal, everything's going to be standard, and they're getting the vision they want in the start.
Well, they will come up and they will spot Miposhka up here. Not quite able to start a play there. Save holding back on the stun, just in case Spirit did have much more waiting round the corner.
Yeah. You have the Tidehunter Weaver, which I think is their answer to this Elder Titan. We saw Enchantress come out earlier, but this is like a different approach where you're going to try to kill him when he runs at you instead.
We'll see if Mira thinking about trying for the bounty rune steal, but not gonna go for it there.
They had a little bit of a poke here on Miposhka. They're trying to set up some damage, but there doesn't really look like anything's going to come out of it. Monkey King's close by to cover him.
And then we'll get the information on how the lane's going to start. Itura on that carry, Monkey King being backed up by the Bane here. No surprises in that front. And then this mid lane matchup, GPK on the Kunkka. This Kunkka versus Invoker should be pretty good for GPK right early on.
Yeah, I think generally speaking against Kunkka, you want a hero that's like constantly putting harassment, and Invoker doesn't really quite fit that bill. He's more of a passive hero that tries to like out-sustain you to the lane, so I expect GPK to have very good fun.
I see, so VP indeed deciding to start things with Nightfall, farming on the top lane with the backup of Kingslayer, constantly running at Spirit to get that space that the Medusa needs.
Yeah,
DM.
This is the ET, right? They were trying to dodge the ET into Tidehunter, and just by putting their heroes top here and doing this initial smoke move, they forced Team Spirit to react to them and then move the Tidehunter up top. And they're already set up here with 3 to try to punish.
Miposhka, he's going to be in a bit of trouble here, so he gets the stun, and that'll be the setup. First blood for VP. As the musical lanes may have occurred, but VP, they'll still get that first blood to start things off.
I think in any sort of Eastern European matchup, the laning phase is always going to be really, really important. And this is why this initial smoke move came out. And you see VP rotating up their heroes towards top. They don't want to let that Monkey King just dominate the Underlord in a 2v2 situation.
No, absolutely. And as you say, it's just something that we haven't really seen as much in sort of previous tournaments, that sort of willingness to move as early as these two teams are.
I think that's a reflection of the fact that they know each other so well, right? These two teams have gone up against each other a bunch during the DPC. They probably scrimmed each other a ton before this event too.
CS-wise, so the courier here being sniped. As mid lane
it's kind of playing out like expected, right? GPK is just managing to out-sustain the Invoker for now and sit there and farm creeps. And now he finally has his bottle, so, you know, he's going to be good. I think that's like really the only tough part of the lane, if you're able to maybe shut him off before the bottle. But from this point onward, it should be smooth sailing for the Kunkka.
Absolutely, yeah. Pressure really mounting here for Toronto Tokyo early on. As you said, GPK with the levels, he'll be able to clear up the lane and the small camp. Hasn't been blocked this game, so lots of potential golden XP for GPK to clean up quite early this game.
Yeah, and DM is managing just fine bottom against the Monkey King for now. Like, you see the Monkey King is starting to... Once he gets lane control, it gets a little bit trickier for the Underlord to lane. But Save is here to pull back the lane and just make sure that Underlord... The lane is constantly swinging back and forth, so Underlord can use his fire to secure CS.
14 for 5, 13 for 4, the 2 cores. Oh, VP off to the slightly hotter start here right now.
Yeah.
Save. Well, we'll get taken out by Mira. Able to push back the line in a lane where you are going to constantly see these two supports try and go at one another. DM, of course, will be much safer as the Underlord. A little harder to go on.
Yeah, I expect to see the Lion TP mid here and refill the Kunkka's bottle. This is something that I think VP do a lot. Actually, he didn't. So, okay, so they've deemed GPK's fine without it. He does still have that bounty rune to go pick up, so...
Yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah, he's just having such a good time. He said he doesn't need that sort of extra refill.
Yeah, seems like they're really valuing DM's game, right? He doesn't even want to go mid to refill the bottle. They really want to get that back down there and make sure the Monkey can camp pressure.
That makes sense. At the moment, DM, the one that's just a slightly bit more behind than the rest.
Yeah, he's also been put in the toughest matchup, right? You got the Monkey King, you have the minus armor from the Weaver, so it's a tough lane to play in. And you notice they're just constantly shoving the wave out to be able to pull these hard camps and the small camp. But Mira's really on top of it. He's going to run over to block the small camp, and then DM's in perfect position to pull the hard camp. Really, really smart play by them.
See another go here onto Save. Save. He'll be able to hold back Mira, but Yatoro jumping in with the Primal Spring. That'll get the kill done.
That's a huge kill. He doesn't have his teleport ready yet, so that's 20 seconds of DM being alone in the bottom lane. But because they did this pulling thing so well, you notice that DM's going to be under his own tower, and he's going to get all the farm anyway. So great play from T.Spirit, but VP were set up for it, so it doesn't really hurt them too much.
I mean, and what's sort of the game plan for Save in this early game? Because it seems like this bottom lane it's sort of guaranteed death. It's very hard for him to stay alive as a Lion against these two.
Yeah, I think what he's aiming to do is just make sure that DM gets some sort of farm out of the lane. We see No Tail from OG do this a lot, where like he will die a couple of times, but once you take a glance over at the CS, you notice that the Underlord he's doing fine. He's managing, even though he's 1v2, because a lot of resources are being burnt in zoning out the position 5. Or 4 in this case, in Save.
Indeed, Save. Straight back over here towards the bottom mid lane. Lead continues here for GPK. 36, we'll see. Again, Save. That's got the Hex. Let's see if they want to try and bring the Monkey King over. No, they won't. The Creep's getting pushed in now underneath the tower. DM with the levels. The Firestorm able to keep that wave pushed in. As top lane. Collapse. I'm going to go down there. Kingslayer getting away with that one. Not even losing his life in return.
Yeah, and in the middle lane, as expected, right? You see the Kunkka is slowly starting to edge out the Invoker. This is a lot due to the fact that Kunkka can both farm out the lane with his Tidebringer and then rotate himself over to the small camp and farm it out while he's waiting for the wave to push back in.
I mean, and as it goes for these two mids, who's going to be looking to make the move first?
I think once Kunkka 6, you could expect some sort of support rotation over. It's pretty hard for the Invoker to pair up with any of his 2 supports to really get kills here, but with the right rune, you know, double damage, they might have some sort of threat, but without it, I think it's almost impossible. So expect VP to make the first move towards mid.
See, top, they try and go on to Nightfall. Good cover here from Kingslayer. Stomp out onto the 2 of them. We'll look to force them back off away from his Medusa. Nightfall will be able to continue to farm safely. Bottom lane, not going to be the same story for Yatoro, though. This time round, Save and DM will manage to kill him off underneath his own tower.
Yeah, and this is huge for them. You pick this Monkey King to zone out the Underlord, right? You want to make sure you shut him down, but they're managing to find this kill. And I think this is a lot due to the fact of how Save played the lane. They've managed to pull XP into the Underlord, and once he hits level 5, they have the damage to take out the Monkey King.
Do have a smoke here from VP, Kingslayer. Looking toward this mid lane, but Toronto Tokyo, he's playing very cautious. A scan comes out as well. He's aware that VP likely looking to try and get some sort of setup onto him mid.
So an interesting thing about the smoke, he timed it with when you would normally go to stack the triangle, right? And since you see a Medusa and a Kunkka, you're probably expecting this ET to go stack the Ancients. So it was a really smart play from ET coming out, but even smarter by Toronto Tokyo, who read that move.
Bottom lane. Look at the setup onto Mira, and with a stun and a hex, all away with the stick charges. Mira actually is going to live through that attempt there from VP. GPK not quite in range to follow up to that setup. And Mira will manage to get away.
And you see they get this ward out behind them as a consequence. I think VP spotted it out though, as they have a ward right next to it that should have seen the Weaver place it.
I mean, look at this move shot. Setup's been here from Miposhka. Toronto Tokyo. TP's over. Mana's gone. Nightfall getting burst low by the EMP. Tornado as well. As Toronto Tokyo leaves no chance for Nightfall to get away. Very good move there from Spirit, knowing that VP had left Nightfall on their own.
I think they really need to make sure that they keep these moves going. And once you have earn charges on the Invoker, it becomes a lot easier. So this first TP is really important for him that it pays off. I think if the game continues going stale, you see VP's cores are just getting more CS for every minute that passes by, and their heroes farm faster, so it's on T.Spirit now to really try to enable the Invoker as we move into the mid game and get some moves going.
I mean, I'm going to see a bit of a move up from the side of the map that DM wants to play. So he's now going to look to start sitting up on this top lane, holding back some of the pressure that's been put in and swapping things around with Nightfall, coming down to farming the other half of the map.
Yeah, and just continued stacks coming out from VP. They know what their objective is. They just need to get items and try to hit their timing in the game. They want that Manta on the Dusa. They want the Kunkka to come online as fast as possible, and then they'll be able to fight back. But up until then, I think T.Spirit's going to look for pressure.
All right, Toronto Tokyo, he's managed to come into VP's jungle and set him onto Nightfall. This time round, TP backup will be coming in. Nightfall gets slow though. The Boundless Strike comes down. They take out the Medusa once again. Toronto Tokyo will die for this. But Mira and Yusoro, are they able to make it out of here? Mira, he's been found, caught out by the X-Mark. They'll drag him back. The vision's out, they take him down. Miposhka, he's come over, but he can't do anything to help, but he's only going to end up losing his life as well. We'll start, Yutoro, he was tempted to commit for save, but opts to keep his life intact there as he will back off. But a kill attempt, this onto Nightfall, but this time around, a very dangerous place to make the move. VP easily able to respond and taking 3 heroes down in return.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of having a greedy carry like Medusa is this hero can farm fast, right? So even though you're punishing it, he has the ability to come back into the game.
Look at this, they want to go for GPK. Cold Snap, the setup, they'll be able to sidestep the Torrent. GPK, they'll catch him on the retreat here with the Tornado, and GPK goes down.
Yeah, this is a massive kill. He was trying to come in and evade and try to take some stacks while he thought the enemy heroes were dead, but T.Spirit really fast on the response there. They know where to move their heroes. During all of this, you see Collapse just sitting in the top lane, and we've talked about Collapse a lot on the panel. This guy kind of likes to play like a carry. He is like one of the big players for T.Spirit that tries to stay uninvolved in the early game, and then once he hits his blink dagger timings, you can expect a lot coming out from him.
And do you think that sort of early game greediness from him is going to be to pay off this game? How necessary is it that he joins the rest of the team? Can these other 4 heroes make enough moves to allow him to sort of AFK in that top situation?
I think that's their game plan, right? They want to try to set up Collapse to be some sort of win condition for him. And I think so far the way the game's been playing out, it's feeding into that, right? Collapse is not really playing as a disruptor. There's nothing that's stopping him from allowing him to get Ravage off. The Kraken Shell will always purge out these stuns they see from VP's side. The burst damage is fairly limited. They might be able to combine some Elder Titan with Lion at some point, but it's a hard ask. So I think it's a good idea that they got going.
A little lines being drawn down at the bottom. Save. It's able to pick up the 6. Mira just trying to keep eyes on him. Also has GPK around him. Mira quite a bit of trouble here unless Toronto Tokyo can do something big. They got the X-Mark into the boat. No detection out though at the moment, and Mira off to the side, but the angle is there. GPK finds them with the Tidebringer. A nice little kill there, and still having that finger of save ready to use if they want to try and push on for some more action. Yutoro
You notice how Yator is really active for T.Spirit, and he's constantly like putting himself in positions where he could potentially join some sort of play. This is something that I think is very unique to Spirit, where Yator will be more active in the early game, and then later on he'll start taking the farm as Collapse comes online. And he's reaching that point. The Tidehunter is getting pretty close to finishing up his item, and you should see this Ravage fight come out soon for T.Spirit, where they look to take some tower.
Lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Yatora will back out of this area for now. Top lane, they're looking to try and get the kill onto DM. See DM trying to get the ultimate going, but they've got a lot of disable. Cold Snap kicking in. DM can't get the ult off.
So by moving all these heroes top, they brought 4 heroes top. Let's see what VP can do on the response. For them, it looks like they're going to try to invade into the triangle, secure some sort of vision, or check the stack situation. And during all of this, you see Medusa just slowly farming away at the Ancients in the triangle. The space created from DM.
It certainly is, and now we'll see the other 3 members of VP look to continue to grow that space. Kingslayer, GPK, and Save. Off with the smoke, but as it is, Spirit very much grouped up. Not going to be caught off here, and we'll see with Spirit's strength and the farm that Collapse has. It's a little careful and you know, difficult for VP to make moves into Spirit's 5-man lineup as Collapse. He'll always be there ready to pop that Ravage and potentially turn things around with a good combo from Toronto.
So one of the counterplays to, you know, a lot of TPs being used here is that the VP knows that Spirit are now stuck wherever they show on the map, wherever their heroes are showing. They know that they can play on the opposite end of the map. So at this point they realize, you know, a lot of heroes bottom, we can move in, pressure out this mid tower, and set up for some sort of weak reaction where you know there won't be 5 heroes.
I'll give it the tower trade. As soon as they take this, TP already coming up top. Gonna have to be a little cautious though on the Bane. Still look to try and hold on to this mid. This top lane, Miposhka will be seen. No, not quite able to get the setup. Even with the rest of Spirit coming over, Miposhka, it's going to be hard for him to close in for a Nightmare lead in. As VP, they'll show their faces and back off as soon as they know that they forced a reaction from Spirit, and Spirit backed over to their half of the map.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the net worth, you'll notice I think VP are quite happy with this pacing. They're getting the farm on their 2 cores that they want. Medusa already has a Dragonlance Yasha finished up. Their Kunkka is extremely strong. He has Armlet, which is currently one of the strongest items in the game. We were talking about it back in the panel.
I mean, the stats, right? The damage.
It's crazy. It gives you 75 damage on a strength hero.
GPK gonna try and start things off here. They've got the grip to lock him down. He needs help. If they've got anything to stop this grip, they don't. GPK caught out from the high ground there. And top, Yatoro, he's gonna look to try and pick something more out of this as well as he's heading over to save. See the tornado angle coming from Toronto Tokyo, and he lines it up brilliantly. Another catch here for Spirit.
I mean, Team Spirit are playing this game extremely well. This is the pace they have to play with. They have to continue applying the pressure because they're getting out-farmed. If you look at the gold ticker, it's constantly moving in the favor of VP. So these plays are needed for them to slow VP down. But as of right now, it's not really working out. But they need to continue this aggression. And once the Tidehunter is strong enough to join them, that's when they really need to take out some towers and then start controlling map space.
Sure. I mean, that's sort of the big thing we've seen, or not seen so far from Spirit, just fighting with Collapse involved. He's still sort of kept to his own devices.
Yeah, and he's about to finish up the Blink Dagger, so expect the smoke coming out.
And the time is certainly ticking. Nightfall and GPK getting serious farm so far this game. Spirit, what sort of setup will they be able to get here with Blink Dagger? Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, VP are doing a good job of only showing their cores on the lanes while they have Medusa farming a stacked up triangle and the camps that are safe. You only really ever see the Medusa walk up to creeps if there's a hero nearby to keep him safe. And in this case, that's saved. As they're attempting a kill on Collapse mid.
New setup. They're coming in, Collapse. Finger as well. And he's got Nightfall moving into position with the Stone Gaze. Collapse can't get out. At the same time, the fight kicking off the side. GPK has been caught in the Wukong's command. The boat comes crashing over there. GPK, he's still alive. He's able to armlet toggle himself back out. He's getting away. He walks out of the whole team fight. They can't kill the Kunkka. And
are crazy.
VP, they've managed to move themselves on top of Toronto Tokyo. He's trying to run, but the damage, not going to quite be done here. Toronto Tokyo also surviving somehow. Finally, GPK goes down in the river. Ishitaro will manage to wrap around and get on top of the Kunkka.
Yeah, he sniped him with a stun there at the end, but oh my god, those armlet toggles, those are crazy. He kept staying alive and then keep baiting T.Spirit into a bad position.
Well, we're going to see them continue to try and fight here. Nightfall and DM, they turn towards Mirror, but now the chase from Yutaro comes out. VP, they've decided to bail out of this. They see Spirit just chasing them down. Save has been left over towards the mid here. Lead forward, big hit coming in with a boundless strike from Yutaro. As Spirit, they're finding these fights that, as you said, they've got to keep going. They've got to bring this action. And my goodness, they certainly are. They'll take the team fight, and by the looks of it, they'll take this mid tower as well. Pretty much nullifying that lead the VP had began to create from the farm they're able to pick up on the map.
And the best part of all of this is they didn't have to use the Ravage. The Ravage is still up, so expect to see T.Spirit to group up and go for another move here. They still are stronger than VP. The Stone Gaze is going to be back, but they're missing the Finger of Death, and the other Titan ulti is still down for another 20 seconds.
And Miposhka, he's got grip. CPs are going to have to come in here, surely, for VP as Spirit. So they want to commit for it. This they do. Save. We'll be able to come in for the trees, stop the Fiend's grip channeling.
That was beautiful spell casting from Save.
And they have to keep GPK safe. We've seen in a few fights, really, GPK very much trying to be the front man here for the team. But with the damage Spirit have, the Spirit Vessel as well, it has been enough to really threaten GPK.
Yep. T.Spirit are aware that heroes were committed to the bottom lane, so they decided to smoke over towards the mid now. And they know that there are not a lot of TPs ready. So.
GPK, again, he tries to walk down to see what's going on, but they find him immediately, drop the combo. GPK's trying to run Collapse. He'll go over towards Save. Stomp from Kingslayer, holds back Mirror and Collapse, but Yutaro leads in with a Primal Spring, closes in onto Save. A Spirit, absolute killers here as they continue to just roam the map and keep VP completely on their toes.
Yeah, and like I said, the best part of this is Ravage is not expended. Oh my god, 4 TPs to the top.
Oh my goodness, yeah, indeed, and Collapse. Can you get in for the gush? Not quite. DM just out of range there, but I mean, you see it. T.Spirit just completely on the same page here with the franticness of the moves that they're pulling out.
They're absolutely in control of the pace of the game, and I think during the group stages, it felt like if you don't control pace, you're going to really, really struggle. I think in the playoffs, we've seen some teams that have been able to, you know, come play away from that and start playing more to just play reactive. But in this series, between the two of these Eastern European giants, I feel like whoever has pace control is going to be determining the pace of the game, and that's going to allow you to get more farm. So, yeah, it feels like Spirit are really doing everything they need to do to stay ahead here.
Getting over, taking a bit of this triangle as well away from VP. VP playing a bit more cautious now. Not seeing GPK being the one to lead sort of the movements now.
That's so hard for them to kill the Tidehunter. So wherever the Tidehunter shows up, they kind of have to play away from. So Tidehunter goes top, you see VP swing over to the bottom side of the map.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
See over towards the mid. TP's coming in as Miposhka's looking for the setup. DM, he's looking to play it safe. He's looking to take them out straight away with the Rift, and he makes it just in time. Gets the both of them out of there this time round. Nobody will fall to Spirit, at least not yet. Spirit, they are chasing on. Again, just feeling so confident when they're fighting around their Tidehunter here. Collapse, very, very strong. Jump on the Yutaro there, they found him up in the trees.
That was the perfect Link reveal for them. He just finished out the Blink Dagger, TP's mid, and snipes out the Monkey King.
Let's see if they can get anything more here. VP whilst Yutaro is down. They're certainly going to look for it. Smoke up straight away from VP. Now it's their turn to hit back with the action.
It seems like Nightfall decided to skip the Mantha, and he's going to go straight for that Eye of Skadi. It feels like he needs the stats to survive.
Step lively now.
We're running out of time a little bit here on the Monkey King respawn. 10 seconds or so. So they're going to make a move quick, Save. They'll get the opening, straight in. Get the setup. And it's going to be Toronto Tokyo going down. Mirror. As the bugs out. And they've got the grip onto GPK. TP's coming in. Spirit. They may have lost their mid, but they will be able to get the trade onto VP's mid in return.
This is all great space though. You see Nightfall's just farming the jungle, up top lane DM's just pushing out the waves. I think for even though it's a mid for mid trade, VP's coming out on top because they have both their cores farming out the side lanes and they're closing in on items that they really need. So great delays from VP. They're managing to keep this game even.
Still coming out alone on this map, proving to be rather scary with Yatora and Mira as actively hunting as they are.
Scotty finished up for Nightfall now.
Things have definitely become a lot more difficult for Spirit if they try and fight close to this Medusa. Nightfall ready to stand tall.
There's also a Lotus Orb just about to be finished on DM, so this is going to be a big timing for VP. So if T.Spirit are not careful and try to run into them, VP are definitely ready to fight back now.
Smoke out from the Roche pit. Starting off things in the mid, no jump. Collapse, committing with the Ravage. They want to blow up Nightfall before any sort of backup comes into play. Stone Gaze is used, but they'll quickly avert their eyes, and they'll be ready to turn back in and slam down the Medusa as Nightfall goes down. With them out of the game for 50 seconds, the space is going to be there for Spirit to head straight into the pit there. Nightfall maybe feeling a little too confident with the Skadi complete, pushing out quite far from the rest of his team in that mid lane. No hesitation there from Collapse to start off the action with the Ravage.
Yeah, and this is great to see. I think you gotta be on your toes. You're ready to make that jump. I think a lot of teams probably wouldn't have made that jump, assuming that there's cover. But Bane is top bottom lane now.
I see bottom. A little bit of an attempt from a setup from Miposhka. I mean, Miposhka is still alive. Brain Sap onto the creeps. Is that going to keep him living? It's not. Goes down, but time's been bought. DM, he'll take the two of them out of there.
I think in this game, you see both teams really able to punish each other's timings. Right as the Tidehunter had his blink earlier, VP took a great fight in the mid lane, and now, as soon as Dusa finishes up the Skadi, T.Spirit interrupt that timing by using a Ravage to blow her up and just constantly delaying the game. But I think that really does favor VP. So even though a lot of things are going right for Spirit, I think this is really their time to shine. So once they get the Ravage up, I expect them to go try to take over the enemy side of the map and really force VP into their base, which I feel like they haven't really quite been able to do, even though they're getting a lot of really good kills.
VP, smoke up for the low ground save, straight up with the initiation. He's got the opening onto Collapse. Collapse is pretty tanky. Have they got the damage to take him out? It's back up on its way. It is Tornado, not going to hit anything. Misses them all. Collapse still being run down here. I mean, he's falling low, but he's not quite dead. He's finally going to go down. They will get the jump done, but no, Yatora is in with the BKB, jumps along the backlines. There's the Wukong's command out. As Nightfall Stone Gaze and is attempted to escape. DM also able to head off to the side. Mirror keeping themselves on top of the Medusa. Just got to be careful of Nightfall with that Skadi. Hitting back hard, so Mirror will back off.
So you're noticing in every single team fight, once the Monkey King ult comes down, Medusa's going to want to respond with Stone Gaze to force both teams to disengage from each other. It's a great tool for VP to just zone everything out, make sure that they can't get chased down, and just get out of that Monkey King ulti and force Yatora to chase out of his ult.
I mean, such a close back and forth game. Exactly what you would hope to see between these two teams. It's 1k gold in it, 13 to 17, 25 minutes in.
And my only worry is about the scaling. I just feel like VP's draft just keeps scaling up so nicely into this game. And if they can already kill the Tidehunter, that means that, you know, as the game goes on and the Medusa starts buying items that actually allow her to deal damage, it's only going to get easier for them.
Absolutely no, as you said, T.Spirit's attitude this game, and has been in many others, was to put that increased priority on getting Collapse's game going early. Has had a couple of solid Ravages, but other than that, the fight's not looking easy for him to perform.
Yeah, I just think VP's been doing a great job of just disrupting T.Spirit's game plan. Even though T.Spirit's been getting these kills and, you know, they're applying the pressure, which their draft should be doing, there is always an answer back. And I think Save has like really been leading the charge. As soon as he got the blink on Lion, it felt like the momentum of the game kind of shifted. And you saw VP have the ability to fight back, and especially for map control.
Dire are scanning. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Spirit. Still 2 minutes left on Yatora's Aegis. They want to get something done. But VP as strong as they are, they're right up by Spirit's tier 2 tower, so quite the walk Spirit's going to have to take if they want to run into them.
This is great discipline coming out from VP. Their vision is in the top area of the map, so they're only willing to fight here. So they're just basically setting up their heroes top, and they're saying, you know what, even though you're damaging 2 of our towers, we're going to take out your top tower faster, and this is where we are willing to fight you, so you need to come back to us. They understand that these 2 towers that they have in both the mid and the bottom lane aren't that valuable for them as it is to fight under their own vision. So just gonna happily give it up while they keep farming it and reaching their timings on their heroes.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, both are trying to force the others back here. It's VP getting us close to the tier 3 right now. What's Spirit going to do about this as Nightfall starts knocking at the door? Spirit, they're going to have to answer. Miposhka will turn up. Nice little sleep dodge at the stomp.
Yeah, even gets a voice line from GPK.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But yeah, the way that Team Spirit have set up their wards right now on the map, if you take a look, they have 1 ward in almost every lane of the map. And this is because they know that once this game breaks up and both teams start resetting back, and it's a map control game, this is going to give them opportunities for pickoffs. Whereas VP set up 2 wards up in the top jungle, expecting Team Spirit to come to the top side of the map and try to fight them. So once we move into this map control state of the game, Team Spirit are going to be favored.
Quick jump on a save. What more can they get? Got to keep eyes on that Aegis timer. 10 seconds. Spirit trying their best to force some action. A VP. Will GPK and DM get caught out here? Very tanky now with DM having the Crimson Guard. And DM, he's taking the 2 of them out. He can sense something's coming.
Yep. Spider senses are tingling. No heroes showing on the map for too long a period of a time, and just decides, you know what, I'm going to take it safe.
I mean, they really are. I mean, as expected, but you know, this game, you can absolutely see just how much these 2 teams know each other.
Yeah, you can feel the tension too, right? Like the way that they're moving around. Team Spirit's very grouped up, so is VP. They don't want to make that mistake that might cost you the game. VP noticed that the Invoker's alone as the Monkey King shows top, and I think this might be their cue to try to make a move once Save is caught up to his teammates.
Miposhka. Not sure that he's got the grab there from the low ground. So VP, whether they're being spotted, and with the information that the vision's up to the top half of the triangle, they smoke up from the bottom half of the triangle, knowing it's much less likely that Spirit would have eyes there as well.
Yeah, they're trying to attempt the wrap around, but the tier 1 middle lane tower is still up, so this might be a difficult wrap to have. It's so low though, it only has 50 HP, and this 50 HP just might make the difference. And you see VP back off, recognizing that, you know what, we can't make this move. Now Spirit instead. Trying to fight into VP, but they have a ward up, so this could be a difficult fight for them, if they're not ready. As you notice, just the standoff between both teams, this is respect coming out for the understanding that, you know, if we fight into the enemy team's vision, it's going to be difficult. Miposhka's pinging out these, like, I think they have a ward here on the minimap, and they're really, really careful about not fighting into the enemy team's wards.
I mean, when are we going to see them run into? It seems that they're just reading each other too well.
As just none of the teams are willing to fight into wards. I think it really comes down to that. And if you're Team Spirit here, you recognize that Roshan's going to be up within the next minute or so. So you want to control the top side triangle. And very likely we're going to see VP fight back for that Roshan. Because if they don't, it's going to go down so quickly.
Well, looking down bottom again, but DM is out before anything happens here. Spirit might get the chance to just take this tier 2 tower. Toronto. So looking for Kingslayer here. We'll commit for the BKB. See how much further they can chase. Oh, that was a great read there. Toronto, you knew that Slayer was going to stand still to avoid the Sunstrike. It ends up coming straight down on him. He reads him like a book.
A beautiful play right there.
That was excellent.
But you can tell how tense they are, right? That BKB usage from the Invoker just indicates, like, you know, they're always scared that someone might be there to back them up as DM is caught mid.
I mean, yeah, straight away in the mid. Miposhka's caught him with the grip. And they turn that quick kill on a Slayer into something a little bigger. DM now out for a minute.
Yeah, and Roshan's just about to respawn, they think, but it seems like he's not. So, no Roshan the first timer tick. they're just going to continue to sweep the map here, I think. When they have the dominant, they have the numbers advantage, this is the time for them to just make sure that they keep applying the pressure to keep VP in their base. They're finally getting that map set up that they were looking for in the earlier portion of the game. And it's reflected in Monkey King's farm. He's caught up to Nightfall, which is huge for them. They need this Monkey King to be able to stand his ground.
See if they answer them this time here. VP. 20 seconds until DM's back in. And Spirit. I'll certainly try and finish this tower before anything comes in regarding DM. And it will be theirs. Another objective taken. Closer and closer now towards Collapse being able to pick up his next item. That's the next one done for Yatoro. Skadi on the way. In fact, it's just been delivered. So Skadi up for him. Evasion's going to be online very soon for Nightfall.
Yeah, and VP are so lucky that this Roshan hasn't spawned. It's going to be just long enough for Nightfall to finish up his item before it comes up.
Both teams just so patient this game. And it really has. It's just kept so close. Normally we see some sort of lead up and then swing around, but it's been a few thousand gold in it for the last 30 minutes or so.
I just think both teams are doing exactly what they're supposed to for their drafts to play out, and getting into this late game, I thought that, you know, for sure VP is going to have an edge, but I think with how the game's been panning out, you know, it feels really even. Either side could really do it. I
mean, it's just that, you know, this whole game, Yatoro is the Monkey King. He's been keeping right up with Nightfall's Medusa. He is massive. And now into the pit they go.
So far. I think Yatoro's really been playing out of his mind for the entirety of this tournament.
This is an very impressive carry. Monkey King here this game. VP, they are going to want to do something about Spirit getting this Roshan, but the Wukong's command is down. Yatoro daring them to step up into this. GPK will lead things up with the bow, but Yatoro commits with the BKB. They get the kill, VP, but Spirit, they get that Aegis secure. Ravage out onto the four of them. DM trying to take the bow, but the grip is holding around Virtus. It's not DM. He's able to step over and take everybody out of there.
What an unbelievable play by DM. Crazy! What an attempt by VP. Like, when you think about it, how crazy you gotta be to pop that Stone Gaze, run into the Monkey King. They did get the Roshan kills.
They got the kill.
Gold, so yeah, they got something out of it.
They're straight back out.
Yeah.
They know that the Aegis is on Yatoro.
But the Ravage is down, and so is the Monkey King ult and the Fiend's Grip. So this could potentially be an opening for VP to try to do something.
They've still got the finger, so they've certainly got the burst if they can get that jump from Save. He's been pretty good at it so far, very willing to just throw his body in to find that initiation.
And look at this, they send Nightfall top to show on the top wave, trying to give T.Spirit the false sense of security here in the bottom area. And then Save goes in, drops a ward, not going to find the initiation this time.
Oh, Slayer.
Oh, what a stun.
Oh, he's got the two of them here. Save. Forced out to the side here, but the bugs are upon him. He'll turn. But Save, he's just dying to the bug of Mirror.
Yeah, if you get the initiation on the two supports, it's just very hard for them to fight back. Both ET caught, solo save, and you notice T.Spirit, Virtus.Pro recognize that, and they immediately back off.
Let's see what they've got here now. That's GPK. He's going to charge him with the bow straight down onto the beam. But Poshka, he's gone. See what they can get from the jump from Collapse. Collapse, he's trying to get in on top of Nightfall, but Nightfall's focusing now Toronto Tokyo. The BKB comes out from Toronto, trying to run. GPK looking to try and get the catch on him, but he's too fast. DM, he's been left behind by the rest of his team. This time, DM out to start off the action. See the buyback from Poshka as he's already heading immediately over to see if he can get some sort of grab onto the two of them. Now watching for the high ground, but the stun comes out for Yatoro. The balance strike straight in on top of them. Sunstrike's going to miss. GPK's got to reset for now, falling a little low. Yatoro looking to get on top of Nightfall, but the Stone Gaze is out. Yatoro jumps back up to the trees. The finger straight in onto Poshka as it's a dieback on the Bane. But this was two buybacks from VP committed to make this play.
Yeah, they needed to. I think if Nightfall goes down there, they're in a very, very hard position to play the game. But now they have a dieback situation going on the Bane. So that's 60 seconds where they can try to set up the lanes and get map control back and try to finish up their round of items. Because you see 3,000 gold on the Medusa isn't really helping her do anything. But as soon as that 3,000 gold turns into a BKB, that's a pretty big advantage you have. Because she's really getting controlled by this Invoker.
We'll see a recap of this fight again. I mean, what sort of stood out to you the most about this move here?
I mean, it's a great initiation they find on the Bane. As soon as the Bane is taken out, you notice VP feel very comfortable standing the ground. And there's no Ravage, so you can see Nightfall's just very easily able to chase, but as soon as a Bane buyback comes out, their position here is kind of broken from VP. You see DM on one side of the screen, and you have Nightfall and Kunkka on the other. And this is just a little bit of miscommunication, I think, coming in towards the end of that fight.
We've seen a few times now where DM's ability to disengage has been huge. And without him there at the start of things, a very, very hard fight for VP to back out from when things don't start to go their way. As now, Spirit able to push up a bit of a lead here, up 4K. Yatoro still standing there, pretty much dead even this whole game with Nightfall. Both of these carries just on the completely same level.
Yeah. Medusa finishes up the BKB. Now this gives her 9 seconds of where the Invoker can no longer Deafening Blast her, because that's been her biggest problem in the team fights. Just constantly getting Deafening Blasted, not allowed to output any damage. So I expect this next team fight that comes out, eyes on Medusa, because she's finally going to be able to be allowed to deal damage. As top lane save is caught.
No, he's going to be gone for sure. Saves out.
Yep, and Spirit's already in position to make a move with both Tidehunter and Monkey King here. Smoked up, gonna jump on the Kingslayer.
Whoa. This time off the mark with the Boundless. Bit of a rare miss there from Yatoro compared to some of the fantastic stuns he's hit so far.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an Aghanim Scepter also finished up on the Tidehunter, so anyone that's caught in the Monkey King ult with Gush on top of them, that's gonna be real tough.
Oh my goodness, the physical damage coming out from those two. I mean, even just sort of a Gush and a Boundless. Some of these squishier heroes are going to disappear in a flash.
Yeah, absolutely. If you see either DM if you see either Kingslayer or Save get caught by that Gush,
yeah,
they're gone.
It's a lot of minus armor really across the board when you factor in the Forged Spirits and the Weaver as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nightfall. They're going to commit, collapse, in with the Ravage, he's back, caught the fourth, and this is giving them good time to fully focus onto the Medusa. The brilliant grip there from Aposhka as well. There's no way to VP to stop it, and now they've got to run. The guys shout onto the two of them, Torrent off the mark, but Toronto Tokyo's how do you get to the high ground with the BKB? Ship's got an Ice Wall, he's got the three of them. Boundless strike down, the pushback for the Deafening Blast into the meatballs as DM dies inside the base. And they're not even done yet, they're looking towards the tier 4, Shitoro is going right up to the ancient, GPK's back to the fountain, a quick blink into the mental sunstrike, it'll hit, they're diving in, they want to. They've got to be a little careful when the fountain dies, but my goodness, the power there that Spirit just charged in with. And I mean, Toronto, Tokyo, he guarantees them those extra kills, just going straight in with the BKB Shivas. There's no escape from VP from this Invoker.
But they're not scared on T.Spirit at all, right? They're just charging up the high ground, showing no respect. They don't care if Zeus has the buyback. They're glad to give up the Invoker kill if there's a buyback on the Medusa. But I want to say, that's all started off with great initiation coming from Collapse, right? Does not hesitate at all. You see the Medusa up in front, blink Ravage, that allows Poshka to keep that perfect position to get the Fiend's Grip off. And just overall, the team coordination coming out from Spirit right now just looks really, really nice. The way they're playing off each other is crazy.
And straight up the top lane, no buybacks on the members of VP here. Spirit taking so much away from Virtus.Pro.
That's his Mega Creeps for sure, and maybe even more.
I see Spirit, do they want to stick around for further fights, or will they chill out for a bit? Looks like they'll back off. Yep. Very happy, of course, they are with what they've achieved here. No need to push it, as this game has just gone completely in their direction right now. 93% on the win probability, 16k lead. Mega's out. I mean, VP, they do have the Juicer and the Kunkka. You know, these are cores that aren't too bad at pushing back the Megas, but no doubt about it, a tough position for VP to play from.
Yeah, the Mega Creeps, the real advantage that it's giving VP right now is, T.Spirit right now is just that it's going to keep VP in their base and allow T.Spirit to kind of decide, what do we want to do with this? The Mega Creeps themselves aren't going to actually apply that much pressure outside of just making sure the VP can't freely move out on the map and make any moves that they want. So Spirit, they're just going to wait for Roche. It could spawn in about 30 seconds. So from now on, just expect Spirit to try to farm out, play together, play grouped up. You don't want to give anything away for free. Maybe even potentially try to set up on these lanes as they see VP heroes pushing out of their base. I would imagine the communication right now is just like, hey guys, we just wait for Roche. If I get the Aegis, I'm confident that we can easily end this game, but for VP's sake, you know, you got to be thinking, okay, can we defend our base and potentially contest this Roshan, or is it too hard?
I mean, what do you do here if you're VP?
That's such a hard choice.
Like, do you get out or do you have to sit back?
DM's caught. I mean, who knows? It's hard. It's a really hard decision to make, and I think it's like comes down to your attitude as a team. What is it that you want to accomplish here? It looks like they're trying to come out. They don't want to give it away for free, but T.Spirit's on top of it, and they're not letting them really gain any ground to try to set up for a potential Roshan fight.
I mean, what's the best hope for VP in these team fights? Like, which of these heroes are you saying, save, you got to get in on top of, we've got to blow them up to start off the action?
I think ideally you want to get on top of the Bane, but he has a full BKB finished up. So
oh my goodness,
if you don't catch him at the start, that's a full grip that's going to go off.
Yeah. And we've seen so far Miposhka's grips. Fantastic.
Oh, beautiful by Mira. Pops the smoke here, and this should force Nightfall and VP to fall back, but it looks like they're going to try anyway.
I mean, they're coming out. Putting on a bit of a brave face here, VP. Toronto Tokyo. It's going to give them a bit of a tickle to start the action off. Yutoro, he's ready to jump in, there's collapse! Immediately with the Ravage, a second Ravage, locking down the four of them as Nightfall, completely out of mana, trying to run away with the BKB. The Earth Split will hold back Yutoro for now, but Nightfall, can he really escape this? He cannot! The Medusa dead! No buyback for Nightfall, as this should be the window that Spirit needs to charge down mid and end this game.
Yeah, this is, I don't know how you hold this off. VP thinking they're like, you know what, this is probably the best fight that we have. So they decide to move out of their base. They feel like Aegis is too much to hold, and it just doesn't work out for them. I think for VP to have a good fight at this point, they really need initiation. And showing two heroes on the middle lane like that, I'm just not sure that's going to give it to them.
We see actually a Spirit that they're going to hold off from pushing down the mid. Obviously we here at home, we can see Dusa dead for a minute. It is on the monetary side of things, so maybe assuming that the buyback was there and not wanting to make the mistake of pushing into a potential buyback from Nightfall. So they'll hold back for now, and VP, they will get the breathing room to keep this game going.
Yeah, I mean, they probably assumed that the way that VP came out of base, right? You don't really do that play unless you have buybacks. It's too crazy otherwise, but you know, VP are simultaneously not showing any respect to T.Spirit either, right? They're looking for the opportunities they have to win the game.
It's all right. BKB committed here for a quick one. Kingslayer's gone, but Toronto Tokyo is already in the base. He gets the lead in onto GPK. 20 seconds and Nightfall's back in action. Right, the buyback from Kingslayer.
Yeah.
Well, they're looking for save. He's
knows
looking pretty dead
apply
here.
the damage that he can in the form of mana drain. Yeah, Roshan about to spawn in about 5 seconds. I expect some player of T.Spirit is going to go check it out, and once they get that Aegis, it should be a pretty easy high ground push where you just drop the Monkey King ult to cover your heroes, and then you fight on top of the Monkey ult as you have 2 refreshers, I believe? No, it's an Agnum Scepter. Still very good though. I expect the Monkey King to pick it up now that he's 6 slotted.
Just a case, of course, for VP. Sitting back in the base there. There's not a lot they can do to stop Spirit from getting this. A lot of money being built up on some of the cores again from Spirit. I mean, Toronto Tokyo just walking around with a straight 5k in the bank.
Dude, he's eyeing up an overwhelming blink on Invoker.
I mean, we've seen, you know, the way he jumps in. You combine that sort of jump with the Shiva's Guard, the Ice Wall. When the BKBs are down, you're not moving anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no instant disable, right? When he pops his BKB, he's safe. There's only that Stone Gaze that will slowly take him into a stone, but the way he's been playing it, he's going to have all the time in the world to reset back after he blinks in. So really nice crowd control coming out of this Invoker, which is great against what VP has to defend with. So
Oh, he's been having a fantastic game, Toronto.
We have a Dagon on GPK. They just want that one kill, right? They're recognizing that we need to kill something on our initiation, so Dagon GPK on Kunkka. I did not think I'd see that on the TI main stage.
Oh, not at all. Nightfall, how's the Divine Rapier progress looking? 2600 right now. He's going to need a fair bit more time, and I don't know if that's going to be given to him as the smoke ups here from Spirit. They line him up, they're in again, collapse! Straight in with the first grab, he pops the refresher into the second. Nightfall is gone. Has got buyback this time around, but the GPK has been caught by the grip from Poshka with the lockdown. GPK's out of the game for 2 minutes. TM, he's trying to take it back to safety here with the rift, but the Ancient's exposed. GPK dead. Yutoro and the team looking to close things up. As Nightfall, he's trying to draw their attention away from the Ancient. Can he do so successfully? Yatoro's committing. They want to just close it. They're looking for the game. They're looking for the objective. They'll get it. GG is called. And Spirit will get the game 1 victory here against VP.
That was a beautiful game. I think the part of the game where you saw both teams standing off, not really being willing to run into each other's vision, that was probably my favorite. You just saw a lot of high-level decision-making where both teams recognized that, you know what, we're stronger if we're fighting on our own vision. And VP even giving up 2 towers just because that's how unwilling they were running into the enemy team's vision. So a really, really cool strategic game and a lot of action. I really enjoyed watching this. This was great.
No, absolutely. I think fantastic sort of read from Spirit. I feel like a lot of other teams in that mid-game position would have maybe continued to push it a little too much, maybe worrying about the threat of the Medusa here from Nightfall. But they knew. I mean, Yatoro 16-2 and 11. This man's carry performance on the Monkey King was flawless.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing watching Yatoro. I think this is just a breakout first TI for him.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. As the series begins, it will be Spirit starting off with the first game victory, up 1-0 against VP.
Thank you very much, Odie Pixel and Insania. Yeah, what a crazy start to this first game of the best of 3. We were expecting these 2 teams going head-to-head and basically having a brawl from start to finish, and I'm very glad that that was on point as well. I want to start with breaking this game down by talking about the fact that we said after the draft, Team Spirit is the one that has to bring the aggression. They are the ones that, based on draft alone, should be the ones setting that tempo. Lizard, that is exactly what they did.
With what style did they do it as well? I was impressed. Toronto, Tokyo, and Yatoro on their 2 heroes on Walker and Monkey King were able to dismantle the enemy team throughout this game. It did look a little bit scary at the beginning. You are playing versus a Medusa. You don't know what's up, what's coming for you, even with the MP. But the coordination that these high mobility heroes allowed them to have in team fights and just separate GPK on one side, Medusa on the other, and just pick them off one by one. I loved it.
Oh, it was the beautiful balance, right? Minute 16, you see VP with the armlet toggles. Big fan of armlet, by the way. There, wait, there. Big fan of armlet, by the way. Anyway, so it's really close where you're having this one fight where VP goes aggressive, and then from that point, it's in this kind of perfect balance of who has cooldowns. If they don't, they're then smoking in, trying to make the plays. And I think the biggest undoing for VP in this game was, I think it was around 23 minutes, when Medusa died mid lane, you give the Aegis to Spirit, and that gave him that confidence of, we know how to play this game now. We know how to run at them. We don't have to really respect timings. We can just be in their face and just kind of ping-pong around the map, kite them out. And I don't think I saw Medusa at any point stand still and A-click properly in these fights. It was, very, very good from Spirit.
Yeah, she wasn't allowed to stand still and fight, Tsunami.
No, but VP didn't take it sitting down. Half the time she was disarmed because of Deafening Blast, and then once she finally got the BKB, you saw VP trying to take advantage of the gaps between Tidehunter Ravages, or they would even fight into Yatoro's Aegis half the time because they were like, it's okay, I think we have the capabilities necessary to win a fight, but I have never seen so many return trips in a Dark Rift before. That dude was just going from the airport back and forth. He doesn't go around the city. He just has one destination in mind, and it was the fountain for 80% of his Dark Rifts.
I must say, some of those were very on point.
Yeah,
I
timing was
do
great.
like seeing Underlord being utilized in the proper fashion, even if the only stop is the fountain.
The proper fashion, I think, is using it offensively and defensively.
That's fair.
You wish you kind of maybe done some in, but again, I think it boils down to Spirit, and I think their ability to just decide when they want to go Roshan, it's what's gotten to this kind of position of top 6, right? Yeah,
Yes.
whenever this is top
They're
4.
already guaranteed top 6. They already got 1.4 million. We're fighting for top 4 right now. That's an extra 1 million, by the way.
That's a lot of money. But it's just, their ability just to go to Roshan with confidence. Even if spells are up on the enemy team, they're like, okay, cool, sure, fight us here, please. We want you to come to us. And they just go there, they mark their territory, and it has carried them through multiple games now.
It has carried them. I mean, we saw that the stats. I mean, we know it was already crazy that they got the Monkey King as the last pick because this hero has been so dominant the entire tournament, Lizard.
Yeah, that's
and they just got it.
I was looking through the carries, and you mentioned Arc Warden, and it seemed great. I loved the Arc Warden pick. But Monkey King has been the most contested hero of the tournament for the majority of it, for a reason. At least the most contested carry as well. And once they got it, it felt like GPK, he just had way too much work. Like you're playing this Kunkka with an offlane Underlord. Yeah, you can buy an ATOS, but it's not that instant cash that you need on your side. And because of that, this team that consisted of Monkey King, of Weaver, and of Invoker just constantly being in Ghost Walk, moving at 500 movement speed around you. You couldn't catch them. And why wasn't Medusa able to hit anyone? Because the moment they find a place, a position that's good for them to fight, Monkey King jumps on top of her and uses Wukong's command. Then you have to disengage.
Yep. I also want to highlight GPK's Kunkka because he is a very good Kunkka player. Let me put that first and foremost. He is a really good Kunkka player. One of his signature heroes definitely started out.
But
that is something that T.Spirit was also respecting in the sense that he was often the hero that was targeted first.
Yep. And I normally, whenever I feel like there are multiple Invis heroes, in this case the Weaver and the Invoker, then I'm like, oh great, I have so much Sentry Ward efficiency then. One Sentry Ward covers both these things. But the problem is, for GPK, he was trying to initiate fights as Kunkka, because the Tidehunter, he was just the watermelon that we know him to be. You can't initiate on him. You have to go for the backlines. They're a million of miles back and invisible half the time. GPK was really the only thing that Spirit had to be concerned about.
Yeah, and then you jump in, and at some point there the boats help, and then GPK lives. But at some point that just didn't happen anymore. I loved this T.Spirit versus Virtus.Pro. We talked about the history between these two teams earlier, T. And we know that Virtus.Pro has been the winner of this series more times than not.
29-1, Shiva. 29-1.
29-1.
Now it's 30-1 now. Or no, sorry, 29-2 now.
No.
It's series.
Series. I thought you said the game count.
No.
If Spirit win this next game, not trying to jinx it, they will go 29-2 against Virtus.Pro in organization history. That is mental. Let
that be a lesson. No one beats Team Spirit 28 times in a row.
29 times in a row.
But isn't it crazy how we've seen Virtus.Pro do very, very well, but it feels like Team Spirit is just... They've learned and adapted more, right? That's fair to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Yotaro for sure is, popping off. Toronto Tokyo is popping off. And then if you look towards, VP, it feels like their adjustment from yesterday of aggression, they kind of double down on defense now. They have the Kunkka mid, they have the Underlord, both buying auras, both trying to be tanky. And then you have this Medusa trying to do damage, who's getting kited. So it's just Spirit reading the opponent, reading in the moment, and just playing so well.
And I don't mind that. I don't mind that they're trying to take the secrets path, because it looks like they carved out the meta and they have the right idea about what's supposed to be played. At the same time, if you're doing that, you have to really reconsider the carry-to-carry matchups and if you actually have the ultimate win condition.
Yeah, and of course on the stage there were 9 players on the booth there for the first time. There's 9 first-timers in this series, and on the side of Virtus.Pro, actually, everybody, including the coach, is a first-timer there. So you can imagine if you might not know these players super well, but that's okay, because we got you covered with a rapid-fire question with Virtus.Pro.
Можешь ли ты, пожалуйста, мне зачитать последнее текстовое сообщение, которое ты написал своему тиммейту какому-то?
Я скинул там мем про, Virtus.Pro раскрыли свою первую стратегию на TI10, и КПК Nightfall съели весь провиант на International для того, чтобы другие команды голодали, и там дальше. Я скинул какой-нибудь. Это секретная информация.
Секретная информация. Про игру что-то? Про тренировки?
Да.
Кто наиболее вероятный человек в вашей команде, который начнет кричать во время матча?
То есть аватарка одного Рамзеса, и на ней был слово Диман.
Диман?
Да. Там, условно, он немного непристойные вещи там орал после одной выигранной карты ниже сетки мажора. Поэтому пускай будет он.
Кто наиболее вероятно начнет первым кричать во время матча?
Егор.
Он сказал, кстати, что ты. Последний фильм, который ты посмотрел?
Дюна. Мы ходили всей командой в кинотеатр.
Нравилось?
Нет.
Вообще никому не зашло?
Только Даня вроде зашло.
Последняя вещь, которую ты купил себе?
$5, чтобы купить с комментаторами вот там Фред.
Чью купил?
Алсера.
Спасибо.
Шучу, не Алсера.
Кто худший руммейт? Кто с кем тяжелее всего жить приходится?
так, ну, это довольно сложный вопрос.
То есть сейчас все очень молодцы.
И никаких нет?
Нет, все идеальны.
Все идеальны.
Без шуток. Кто будет выражаться не самым лучшим образом в своем тиммейте? Очевидно, только купец.
Справедливо, справедливо.
Ну, самый тяжеленький, наверное, Егор будет.
Егор. Почему?
Ну, такой, типа, требовательный во многих моментах.
Угу. Кстати, интересно, до тебя все отвечали, что все офигенные руммейты. Ты нарушил эту традицию, да.
Смотрите это видео, ребят.
Well, don't worry. They weren't able to watch this video. They got other things on their minds because they are ready to step back into their booths for playing game number 2 of this best of 3 series here for elimination or for moving on. That sounds way better. The best of 3 series for 4th or top 4 at this International 10. And we know Virtus.Pro can deal with being a game down and recover. So I'm not too worried, but I am curious to hear from you guys, like on the Dota side of things, Tsunami, what would you like to see them change?
I think they're coming into this cold. I think Spirit, what's most impressive to me is that in that last game, it didn't even feel like their draft was still anti-OG mode. It felt like they were like, okay, we're going to beat OG, and then we are already preparing for Virtus.Pro ahead of time. And so they have warmed up, both literally and figuratively, whereas I think VP, this game 1, needed to get a little bit of that, oh my god, we just got knocked down to lower bracket, get those shakes out. So more than anything specific, I want them to emotionally bring themselves together in this game number 2.
Yeah, that's probably the best for Spirit, right? Playing versus a regional team after after having to play the same day.
How much research you gotta
exactly.
do?
You don't really have to do the research.
You did 3 months worth of research.
You have these guys on your friend list. You can scroll through what they've just played, prepare for it, ban out a couple of those. Meanwhile, at the same time, I think it's maybe mentally difficult for Virtus.Pro to adapt to the fact, oh my god, these guys just won versus OG. They just won hard versus them. They eliminated OG. Does that get to you? I think that gets to you a little bit. You can see that they're banning out Collapse's hero. They banned out that Magnus that OG just left in.
Free. Yeah, no, exactly. I think if you maybe look towards heroes for a little bit, I mentioned it previously, but I would love to see a difference in hero archetype from mid to off lane. You know, DM, GPK, I want one to be more of a playmaker and one to be the tanky guy. I think, you know, fundamentally in all drafts, you need to have that one kind of lad that you push out into the front, that tanky unit that you have to get through. But having 2 in the same lineup with a carry that also is getting kited, that is a bit of a difficulty. So I'd love to see either probably GPK shift away from that and get into more of a backline jumping style of hero to kind of punish the amount of kite that a team can really draft.
You know, yesterday we were on the panel for PSG LGD versus Virtus.Pro, and you said, I really hope we're not going to see any spirits in the mid lane. But basically what you're saying now
That's
is,
true.
I want to see spirits on the mid lane.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the thing is, right? Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's good, all right? And I think right now, VP, they could go out of this tournament, Shiva. So I have to at least lean towards something that could help them, you know, get to a game 3. I think everyone wants to see a game 3. So this one time I will forget that I dislike watching spirits because they are rather good. And I might, you know, hope to see it appear.
If they don't get banned, though, right?
Yeah, they did get banned. Yeah.
2 out of 3, I believe, that are played on mid at least have been banned out in that last game. And Kunkka, for me, is really solid versus them. I like Kunkka versus them. I like Kunkka versus Invoker as well. It was just that there was no follow-up. If I was to find a culprit of that last game, not a player, but a hero...
Blame something.
I'm not going to blame
time. Who is it? Who is it?
I just feel that they could have had something more active on the offlane. I feel that
Oh, jeez.
Doesn't like the Uber driver.
That's
okay.
harsh.
Yeah, the Uber driver is... there's a reason why the hero hasn't been picked.
Wait, whoa. It has been picked by Virtus.Pro. They've not lost
overall,
a single game with it.
Overall, it hasn't been picked a lot, and you left
now.
Monkey King in the pool.
The main thing I think Lizard's trying to say here is the Underlord before the success we found was against Terrorblades, against push lineups, against very clean concepts where Underlord has value. In this kind of blind pick phase where it was pick Underlord into the Abyss, in which Spirit, they don't really have this innate pushing lineup with some summons or some, you know, auras.
Thank you very much.
No worries, man. I got you. But
you get me.
I mean, we're saying the same thing. Tanky boy, get out of here.
I can come up with some culprits also. No first phase Medusa. Don't want it.
All right, I am ready for a game 2 between these 2 teams. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into the draft of game 2.
T.Spirit versus Virtus.Pro. Game 2.
Game 1 delivered, guys. Game 1, we were told it's going to be an Eastern European brawl. They're going to bring the fire. It's going to be back and forth, and it was super exciting. It was also a Game 1 of a best-of-3 elimination, and I always think that Game 2, the team that has the most pressure on them, the team that has potential of getting eliminated in this game, normally plays a little bit more safe, a little bit more reserved.
Sure.
Spirit cannot get a comfortable wins position, right? I think that's the main thing we're trying to say here. Like, if Spirit want to be able to close this out 2-0 and finally beat Virtus.Pro as an organization since, 2015, they're going to need to treat this game as if it's, back to Game 1. And I think that's a lot of teams struggle, especially in competition. You're able to beat these teams in best of ones, right? Or even like best of twos, but the ability to continue converting your concepts and your confidence, knowing that, wait, we're one game away. That's when these better teams, more experienced teams will beat you. But again, both these teams, experience-wise, they're the young guns,
Can they be defeated? They just won versus OG.
Yeah.
They shaved their head. The easy game in all chat.
They did, and they didn't just 2-0 OG, right? Because before that, they already 2-0'd Fnatic. Like they're reaping havoc in this lower bracket after getting knocked down by IG. So I think they want a rematch. They might get that chance if they continue on this track. And of course, it's important for them to beat Virtus.Pro, their fellow Eastern Europeans team. But I also want to point out again that whichever one of these two teams wins has got like some of that glory or potential coming out from former Na'Vi. The last time there was an Eastern European team in the top at a TI was TI3, where Na'Vi came second. And ever since, it's only been top 6.
It's been always Virtus.Pro, and they've
always been Virtus.Pro.
top 6, exactly.
And Virtus.Pro after TI9 in shambles. Everything was up in the air, who's going to play where and stuff, and now there is one team needed that will rise out of the dust.
How incredible is it that it wasn't only Virtus.Pro that was in shambles, the whole region looked like a mess. And from all that chaos has given birth to these two magnificent teams, these young stars.
Love to see it. Like, that is actually incredible. We have a draft. We should also
will we see Nightstalker from Spirit? This is all I'm interested about right now.
Okay.
You think about IO pairing so far. Spirit has put on a masterclass with IO Mars, and they've also run IO Nightstalker before. But the idea of a strong offlane that enables the IO for forward aggression is what I love to see. Not like kind of these farming heroes. I want to see into the enemy jungle, take away some of this farm, take away this kind of map control, and make VP have to react.
You like Nightstalker, I like Slardar if you're looking for a pairing like that. I don't really know if it's as much of Collapse's dynamic. I think whenever they ran that IO Mars...
Nightstalker is definitely more in his avenue.
Right.
I would agree with Tiga as well there, yeah.
The IO Mars, so there are carry pairings. I feel like the IO would leave Collapse a lot earlier than most of these off-lane IO pairings. Like an IO Slardar, I feel, stick around for much longer. This one with Collapse, he's just like, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to take it from here.
So something like a Tor or Luna or whatever works with an IO could be good here for Team Spirit. They don't have to draft it instantly. Maybe they will. They go with the Tidehunter. Why not?
Boy. There he is.
It's the boy that was left in the pool. He is not the greatest combination with IO.
Yeah.
So maybe they won't even be laning together.
Yeah, that's the main thing here, right? Like, you'd assume in this scenario that it's going to be Tide being paired with maybe some ranged forward position or, support where I then plays elsewhere. But also, the Spirit, they've been very, not creative, but they've been very annoying with their IO pairing. So maybe this is just like the super unkillable Tide in the off lane. He's just going to be farming, skipping towers, really just taking over that jungle. And it's like a new form of Tidehunter. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to bring that out.
A hero that Secret would pick versus the other Titan would be Enchantress. Now, is it the best pairing with an IO as position 4 and 5? Probably not. But versus other Titan is decent. Miposhka has played that hero throughout his career. So maybe it will.
This will be the 8th Tidehunter that Team Spirit play at the International 10. All games wins. 100% win rate.
Wait, 100% win rate.
100%
Very
win
good.
rate.
Like the way that they play, even look at that previous game, kind of the mannerisms that they had, it was always Collapse parking himself up front, baiting out so many spells. And when VP even went on the aggressive and they caught him in their own jungle, it took like 20-25 seconds to even kill him. Like, it is very much, I think, a Collapse specialty alongside, his Mars and before. And of course, Tide is very much a tournament favorite right now.
So you talk about tide rates. What's their IO pairings typically, Shiver?
All right.
We talked about the Luna. I think they've done Monkey King as well in the past, which again somehow slips by first and so far second phase bans.
They banned the Luna themselves, actually.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little bit... you can understand it. You're picking a Tidehunter. When it comes to the pairings that are good versus him on that safe lane, Luna comes to your mind.
Sure.
Another hero that you might want to ban out, but it's not truly Virtus.Pro style, is a Doom. Like, that's a hero that you usually ban out if you're worried that your Tidehunter will be countered.
I will say that the IO for T.Spirit has been played by both Mira and Miposhka. They switched it up a little bit. They've played it a lot in combination with Mars when Mira plays it, of course. And actually, it's only played in combination with Mars when Mira plays it. And the time that Miposhka played it, that was twice. Once it was with an Ursa, and once it was with a Sven.
Yeah, so it was the carry pairings that I'm particularly interested in. I'm glad that they don't play Gyro, because that fell off the face of the cliff in the group stage.
That's had a, like...
That's pretty bad.
What, 13% win rate? Yeah, it was abysmal.
But the key reason why you don't see, I think, carries thriving with the IO pairing right now is because, like, look at VP's heroes, for example, right? This casual Bane into IO, you have an IO, so you're not going to have this innate save other than maybe Relocate, but your rest of your team should be able to stun him up. So this value of grip, when you're trying to push this one core into the middle of the fight, this casual 5 Bane, he's going to throw a grip on that hero, lock him down, and as long as you cancel the Relocate, naturally you're not having additional saves, right, in your lineup. Because like IO plus SD is not really a thing, right? IO, Oracle, not a thing. So it is very much Virtus.Pro's way of dealing with IO is going to be, if you come into our territory with ET defending these high grounds, we're going to sleep you, we're going to grip that big core you're trying to fight, and you're going to kill them off.
Storm right here?
Probably.
No, it's an Ursa.
Yeah.
Okay, a different hero that can deal with the Tidehunter. Why I asked is it the Storm? It's because all the spirits are still left in the pool.
Yep.
And during the group stages, Storm looked like the strongest spirit. Right now, I think Ember might have taken the throne.
Oh, yeah.
Still, though, having the Storm Spirit versus IO always feels nice, and it is a GPK special.
T, do you mind looking up stat for me real quick?
Hit me.
Can you give me GPK's competitive win rate on Storm Spirit?
Look, don't go, but exclude EG.
No, I want all time.
No, we're including that.
Numbers.
We need to include the EG stint. That was the best stint for
All right, I take my special back.
Go.
It was definitely very special during that tournament.
Special, all right.
In not the greatest way, but after that, it looked good.
35 games and a meaty 42.86.
Yo, he brought it up then.
Well,
that means before this tournament started, he was like 35%.
It was really low.
But you compare that to his Ember, 68%, his Invoker, 72%, his TA, 68%. Like, very much Storm is at
There
the
was just
bottom
something
of his
about
heroes.
that tournament that totally didn't work for him on Storm. I think that tournament on its own ruined that guy's stats on Storm forever.
You see his T.Spirit, they pick up the Shaman, so most likely this IO is going to be playing in that safe lane with the carry, and then it's going to be a Tide Shaman pairing. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up the generic Toronto-Tokyo hero here to give that best IO pairing available at the very end, unless they already have something in mind.
And you're already setting yourself up for any of the spirits on the side of Virtus.Pro. If you remember Singapore Major, if you remember after that the Annie Major, if there's a spirit, you pick up that Shadow Shaman to hex him, shackle him, and to control him. This is the hero that probably brings the most control after Lion in the game.
And previously, we were mentioning the idea of like IO plus carry and how it's not been that great in regards to, say, the Gyrocopter kind of fell off a little bit. I love the idea of picking a mid laner that you can play, right? So he'll play the side lane, enable the carry. As soon as that laning phase collapses, he's going to jump into the Leshrac kind of situation, play behind the Tide and the Shaman, and it's going to be this kind of annoying 4 playing with a hard carry. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit just fully all in on some like late game hero, because this 4 combo that they have, if they have an item each, very active.
This is actually going to be the first Leshrac that T.Spirit will play at the International 10. That is
it's a Viper.
Well,
massive to pull out. The Viper coming out for Virtus.Pro.
That's not a spirit.
That is not a spirit.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's their offlaner, actually. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be picked mainly because they want to break for Tidehunter, because otherwise I see minimal incentives for this. Yeah, he is a little bit tankier versus magic damage, so you see a core Leshrac, you come out, you're like, okay, fine. I've got corrosive skin on Viper, life's good. Maybe I'll be able to tank a bit more than most offlaners.
You might have been concerned about something like a Spectre, but I don't think so.
I think this is just going to... It feels like the mid... Oh, of course, they can flex it to the very end. Again, Virtus.Pro, they will have the ultimate last pick in this draft. But I feel like this is just the casual mid Viper that's going to be able to lane into the Leshrac, has equal amount of wave clear. You're not going to care about the Leshrac at all. You buy that early bots, and wherever this kind of 4-man Death Ball of Spirit want to move to hit an objective, that Viper will move on in, park himself there, stop that Tide from being tanky, and the whole concept of Spirit's lineup is Tide up front. And of course, Kraken Shell, he is broken by the Never Toxin of Viper, so you aren't tanky at all. So it's very much a casual Viper to remove that tanky. Now Spirit going to need that carry to fill that void.
I like that idea a lot, especially if you consider that Tidehunter might have a little bit of a difficult lane if you don't play it correctly, as you are playing into an Ursa. It can get hairy. But I'm not the greatest fan of GPK playing an elimination match on a Viper.
Agreed.
I think like you're tying his hands a little bit. At the same time, if that's what they think this team needs, all in for it.
Do you want to know his win rate on Viper?
Sure.
I should have asked that once I had the result.
Okay, fine. Great setup.
We'll wait for it.
This is
Phil, Tsunami, Phil.
Right, it's shades of how I felt with T1 picking DK for Carl. It seems that when it's in elimination time, you're like, I don't know, man. I won't lose on Viper. I won't lose on DK.
Yeah,
Just
you
give
go
me
for
that.
the safe.
Right.
You go for the safe play, and that is, as we've said many times before on this panel, sometimes in a game, you have to not play to not lose, but you have to play to win. And
Right.
Viper feels like a hero to play to not lose, and generally that is not actually a strat that works.
Yeah.
But I think as well with Viper is the fact that the itemization on the hero has shifted a lot. You're not really this kind of magic damage style hero. You are going for Dragon Lance, BKB, Skadi. You're becoming a core in your own right. And when you have heroes like Ursa who get naturally kited, this Viper will be able to kind of prop himself up into the fight, sort out kind of where people are to enable Ursa with his blink or whatever to find the hero he wants to kill. And unfortunately, my internet has died, so therefore I cannot give you.
Just give me a number. What do you think it's above 50 or below 50?
Above 50%.
Oh yeah, of course. The GPK is a beast on Viper. It's the kid's signature.
If you're playing Viper,
that's a really cool stat.
if you're playing Viper, if you're a Viper player and you have below 50% win rate, I feel bad for you.
I mean, if you're an anything player and you have a below 50% win rate on your anything, I think that's a bad luck.
Yeah, but Viper is it's a special hero.
Hero plays itself.
I am below 50% win rate.
Well,
you're a Tidehunter
game.
specialist, not a Viper specialist.
All right.
What's the pairing for this IO with the carry? Are they just content giving the Leshrac as the only thing that IO needs to worry about sticking to?
They did
I'm
ban
very
out the gyro.
happy that VP bans out the gyro, actually.
Oh yeah, same here. Even though I think it's a wasted ban, because that would have been perfectly okay if I was VP and Spirit
Yes,
picked it.
absolutely. I think it saves Spirit a little bit.
Yep.
I'm also
I got
hoping
it.
that this Viper will be on the offlane. There goes Terrorblade.
68% Shiva, sorry.
68% win
was-
rate on Viper for GPK.
That's, yep, there it is.
Very cool.
Sorry, I just had to get that out there for no
That's
reason.
okay.
And there's a Terrorblade, yeah. So the idea, what we mentioned earlier, about the fact of the Tidehunter Lesh, the IO playing with Lesh, you want to unlock that space on the map for a core to farm behind you. Terrorblade will thrive in this, and it does put VP in that awkward position of when can we actually win the game. They pick up a Pangolier. Again, very, very good at dealing with these early kind of tower objective hitting lineups, because you just have the Rolling Thunder. You will be that cushion for the Viper to get the spells off behind you. And it allows you to at least deal with Terrorblade to some degree, but this is a pretty good Terrorblade game.
It's a pretty good Terrorblade game, but Virtus.Pro do have that upper hand in the early to mid game, and if they are able to capitalize on that and collapse all over T.Spirit, I believe they can pressure the TB hard enough to take that safe lane tower, that mid lane, and keep pressure on the triangle. It will be difficult though.
You guys keep using that name as a verb. You gotta stop saying collapse. You keep confusing me. He's going to collapse. And they are going to collapse. This is a terrifying push lineup. You've got Metamorphosis Terrorblade. You've got the Shaman Serpent Wards. You've got Diabolic Edict on Leshrac. This is fast, and I don't know if VP are going to be able to draw them off their
So
objectives.
you actually like T.Spirit's aggression?
I like Spirit's aggression.
I'm gonna go the opposite way.
Okay.
Let's get some change it. I'm going VP, I think, a little bit. I think they've got just enough in the tank to deal with the early fight, and I don't think there'll be enough room for TB to farm if VP are decisive with kill a hero, invade the jungle. If they kind of hit these rhythms, I think they should be in an okay spot.
All right, so basically all we want is for VP to be the one to set the tempo this game if they want to come out ahead. But they've got a good setup for them.
Last game I said that GPK has a huge burden. I believe it's Toronto Tokyo this time around to carry it out.
All right, well, we are going to witness it. It should be an exciting series, exciting game rather, regardless of who will take it. But we will find out who will take it together with OD Pixel and Insania.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, game 2 coming up now between VP and Spirit. I'm OD Pixel with my main man, Insania. Insania, what are you excited to see? I'm seeing a Viper. We're not a hero we get to see a lot, but it is one of GPK's hottest back in the day. This was a hero you would never let the man have.
No, absolutely. And I think this is their idea to deal with the Tidehunter. I think if they probably felt like the Tidehunter was problematic for a certain part of the game, and they couldn't fight into him, and now they're trying to solve it with the Viper. But I feel like generally when you do this, you want to have some sort of stun to keep him inside of the Nether Toxin. And when I look at their draft, I don't really see a lot of it. There's a Stomp from ET, there's a roll through from Pango, and then there's Fiend's Grip from Bane. So I think that's going to be a challenge for them, at least in the early game.
And sort of overall, looking at the carries, you feel Terrorblade, good game for it?
I mean, it's a great game for TV. The only fear for him really is that Elder Titan. But I saw this earlier actually in the tournament where VP played his Bane against ET, and it was Save playing it that time as well. And he kept finding it. He kept being able to click that Fiend's Grip on top of the TB. And that was also against the Tidehunter, I want to say. So it's a pretty similar situation. So I think VP probably think this Bane is quite strong into this specific matchup, even though I would imagine TB has the edge.
Oh, he's definitely seen some fantastic Bane plays. I mean, Save in himself has had some excellent games, turning fights around and starting them off. You know, one of the more aggressive supports it seemed here on the main stage. He's always ready to just jump headfirst into 5. We're going to see quite a clash here, but it looks like at least the attempts of both teams. It's really eyeing each other up around this fight, around the early vision control on this mid. Now they'll back off here for the bounty runes. And we'll see what sort of lane matchups we got. Of course, last game, we did see some early mix-ups in the lanes for both teams trying to find that favorable start.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Eastern Europe, laning phase is really, really important to all 10 of these players in this lobby. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of mix up again, but I think the standard lanes should be expected here. It's most likely going to be the Pangolier together with the Bane going up against the Wisp and the Terrorblade on the safe lane.
And how well does the Io and the Terrorblade deal with that pressure?
I mean, I think generally speaking, when you play Wisp, you want to play against lanes that are trying to harass you out of the lane, and that does fit like Pango's concept. Pango's very rarely a hero that tries to kill you from full to nothing, so I think they should manage to do fine. However, the Bane is like the X factor here, because Save trades extremely well into both these two heroes, so when the meta's down, I think they might have a hard time getting all of the CS, but how you manipulate that with the pull and stuff is going to be interesting to see.
We'll see how much Yutora can find out early on in the lane. Looking at the other lanes, the mid lane matchup, Viper, Lesh, early levels, how does this look?
I think it's a pretty rough lane for the Leshrac. He's going to have to use a lot of mana, as you're seeing, to just try to secure some CS, but he saved up gold for his bottle, so he's going to try to play that regen game where he's just using mana to get a lot of creeps, trying to get as much as possible out of the lane, and then have the water runes refill it. And if somebody happens to die in the top lane, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Mira TP mid and refill that bottle, or see Miposhka do the same thing. So that bottle's going to be crucial for Toronto Tokyo.
I mean, are we going to get someone dying first? What in that top lane is that where you sort of see the most brawling in this early laning stage?
I mean, here in the top lane, you have Elder Titan and Ursa. This is more of like a kill setup. So I think once they hit level 3, that's a pretty big power spike for the Elder Titan. I'm sure Fog has talked a ton about this hero.
Oh, he loves it.
But level 3, that's really when you start trucking in damage. And then Ursa's online too, right? You have both the slow, you have the Fury Swipe. So a lot of tools to get kills up here once the levels come online.
So far, on the early CS, nobody falling too far behind really. DM just having to slow out the starts, but we saw the same thing really happen last game.
Yeah, and Toronto Tokyo got the bottle. He's just bottling up. You notice he's doing very, very even with the Viper, and this is just a result of getting that bottle so early. Rune control is going to be really important too, I think. This bottle, for me, is like so crucial, because if the Viper is able to dumpster this mid lane, that's going to lead to GPK having a huge timing in this game and BP able to control the pace, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see supports helping out with the 4-minute runes and the 6-minute runes.
And what sort of is the aim here for GPK's Viper this game? Is he going to build to control? Are we getting an Atos, or is he going to tank up so he can join these early fights and enable the Ursa?
So I think traditionally the way GPK likes to play Viper is he goes Boots of Travel and then he kind of decides where he goes with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Atos, because like we said, I think this is an answer to the Tidehunter. They want to use that Nether Toxin to shut the Tidehunter down, and they don't really have the lockdown to keep him in the Nether Toxin, so the Atos is probably going to be nice. Later into the game, you're going to have Ursa build a Basher, and then they'll have the lockdown as the game progresses and they hit item timings.
And talking about the Ursa for Nightfall, this game, how do the timings sort of pair up in the way that VP are going to want to play the game around their Ursa carry, and Spirit are going to want to around their Terrorblade?
I'm expecting Nightfall to, Roshan's going to be obviously like a point of contention, and if the Ursa can get that Aegis early on, some sort of diffusal build, phase boots, you know, playing fast, I wouldn't expect some sort of Battle Fury, but it is possible. But I think they have enough AoE from the Pangolier and the Viper, so I think for VP you're looking at trying to hit that Atos on Viper, you want to get the diffusal on Ursa, and then you want to just go, go, go.
Sure. I mean, because this Pango, DM, he's going to be quite the nightmare in the fights when he gets that Rolling Thunder off, right? Nothing to stop him at all once he's in the ult.
Yeah, absolutely, as they're applying pressure to Yatoro, but, you know, Wisp uses the healing salve, gets him back up to full HP. But yeah, like you said, once he starts rolling up, you know, it's hard for you to play Shadow Shaman because you need to stand in place and try to grip someone. Or Tidehunter generally wants to use Ravage to blow everything away from him, but once Pango's in that role, you're not really touching him. So it's a really, really good Pango game. He doesn't need to be afraid of Leshrac. All he really needs to make sure that he does is get on top of the Terrorblade.
Oh, we're going to see straight up TP from Toronto Tokyo. We'll reset back in the base. Yeah, absolutely necessary there with the setup. Was made by Save.
And this is what we were talking about, right? The room control. It's really important to make sure that this Leshrac can't abuse the bottle to just keep getting creep kills. Because right now he's sitting at 20 CS.
He's doing great, right?
Yeah, even with a Viper.
Not an easy lane, but Toronto Tokyo trading farm quite nicely.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Up top, you see, so one of the interesting things about running Tidehunter against ET is you get this minus armor from the Gush and the Slow, which allows you to fight back when he runs in with the Spirit. And you can look at Mira's skill build as well. He has 2 points leveled up in his Ether Shock. They're looking to just fight the Elder Titan when he runs in, so it's a tough lane for ET, but the nice thing about it is that you take a lot of attention, and that allows Nightfall to get a lot of creeps. So even though you don't have a great lane as ET nowadays, you almost always will take enough attention to let your carry get a lot of farm.
Well, it's certainly been the case here. Only a few CS right now between the farm of Nightfall and, of course, Yatoro there on the opposite side of things down bottom. So it certainly seems that, you know, having the presence of the IO has been enough for Yatoro to be able to survive through most of the aggression. We're going to see a bit of an attempt onto Yatoro down here, but quickly with the tether, Miposhka giving him the ability to turn things around. Save will pop the Fairy Fire. Are they going to have quite enough to take down the Bane? They won't. Save's able to get out of reach of the Terrorblade. DM a little short there on the Swashbuckle. That's going to cost him his life. Opts to sort of stay close rather than go for the full distance on the Swashbuckle, and Yatoro, of course, with a point and out reflection, he's immediately able to punish that.
Yeah, great play from from T.Spirit there. And a bottle just came out on the courier for Pangolier, but smart enough, drops it off onto Save. So Save now has an empty bottle that'll get refilled from Pango. So all in all, they still get both heroes back to full HP. They were so low that they would probably have to go back to base otherwise. So it doesn't hurt too bad, but of course you never want to give a first blood away to Terrorblade.
One thing that so definitely stands out to me this game when you look at both drafts is, you know, VP, whilst they've got the killers and the fighters, they don't really have the tower push right. They're going to have to get a lot of blood spill to actually get the room to push down objectives. Whereas meanwhile on Spirit, they will lose collapse top, but when Spirit group up, towers will just crumble to this Leshrac and Terrorblade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And generally speaking, when you play really long cooldown drafts, you will see teams want to have tower damage, as Toro's going to get caught here by the Haste Viper.
See if he's got any way out. There's a lot of damage for GPK. There's no way for Yatoro to run away from this. Miposhka as well will also die. Tries to get the courier on the way out, but he won't have enough damage to do so. A very hard-hitting move there from GPK down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is just the importance of rune control, right? Because the Leshrac got zoned out of the lane early on, he's no longer able to contest these runes, and he's forced to play in the jungle. And when you play in the jungle, you're low on mana, so you can't fight runes. And that gets him a kill on TV, but Toronto Tokyo has finished up Arcane Boots, and he's eyeing up his own move here in the top lane now.
TP up from Miposhka as well. Got the quick refill here on the bottle, and see what they can do about this tower. See if VP are going to put any effort into trying to hold this off.
So this is one of the times when you really want to have tower push in your team, so you can rotate the Ursa down to the bottom lane or some sort of hero down to the bottom lane and apply tower damage. But VP just straight up can't. So this is something that they will suffer to in the game. If they don't feel strong enough to fight back, T.Spirit can easily just run over towers.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, they're getting the seal one for sure. Nice turn up here from VP. They're focusing elsewhere. Save, trying to keep Yatoro on edge as he comes deep into the jungle.
He's being so obnoxious. He's just forcing Yatoro to run away. He just wishes he could sit here and farm for free, but he's killing off those illusions. This is something I think a lot of people don't do enough of. And this forces Mira to come down bottom.
Well, they should have a pretty good shot against Save here. He'll try and turn with the Nightmare. Instantly able to take it off with the illusion there, Yatoro. There's a couple more hits. He'll find them. So Save finally put to an end. Well, CTM looks to go in with the Rolling Thunder, but T.Spirit, they're already back underneath the tower. Nothing is going to be found with this Pango ult.
Yeah, the ward here on the high ground, just allowing them to see the Pango rotate over, and he's easily able to dodge it out. Yeah, it seems like GPK decided to go a different route. No Atos. He's going treads into Dragonlance, so looking more at trying to deal some damage in these team fights. I'm not sure if I personally like it the most. I think when you play this Viper as an answer to Tide, you really need to make sure that you can either burst him on the Nether Toxin, and in order to do that, I think you need to have at least one stun. And I just don't think they really have that lockdown. I would have loved to see that Atos.
What sort of advantage does the Dragonlance have from this game? I mean, what does it say to you when he does go for this to start his build?
So I think probably what he's thinking is we need a way to kill the Leshrac. We've seen the Chinese teams run Lina a lot against Lesh as an answer because you have that long range and you buy an early BKB and you just sit that from behind and just keep hitting him. So probably GPK's plan here is to buy the Dragonlance, sit back really far, and try to hit down the Lesh as he tries to charge straight in. So it makes sense, but I think the Tide just might be too big of a problem, but we'll see.
I mean, Collapse last game did have quite the impact. And we'll manage to catch him on his own. He is rather tanky. They should get the job done here as long as Collapse does live. He does still end up eventually going down.
Yeah, and T.Spirit immediately on the response, right? Toronto Tokyo runs up the mid lane, pressures that tower. As soon as VP makes a move, he's been in the right place to apply tower damage, and this is really good by them because they keep forcing the VP heroes around.
Another quick grab onto Save.
Yeah, the 3-man of T.Spirit are doing a great job. The 2 supports together with Toronto Tokyo just running around applying pressure, and if he gets a rune here, that should lead into a play. Luckily, GPK gets it, so Invis rune. Now this puts the pressure on the Tide again. He's probably pretty scared. They know that there's a bottom rune spawn since Toronto Tokyo didn't get a top. And we'll see if they might try to fight back with the Ravage here. Depending on if Collapse leaves the lane or if he stays here, that should be a pretty clear indicator to whether T.Spirit wants to fight or not.
And how strong of a timing is it going to be this game for Nightfall with the Diffusal? Is it as simple as Diffusal's picked up, he can join the fights, or is he going to have to play on and farm for the BKB before he really gets stuck in with the team?
I think most likely the Diffusal they'll try to take some sort of engagement. It's a strong timing as Tidehunter gets caught now. But you see, they can't stun him on top of the Nether Toxin.
Yeah, he's straight out of the Nether Toxin, and now there's been a chance for the response to come in from Spirit. Toronto Tokyo's been brought in, but the damage is actually too much here. As Spirit, they try and take this fight, but that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2 going down. As maybe just overestimating their capability to get kills with the damage of the Leshrac. We see Lesh just getting destroyed on the front of the action.
I think they need the Ravage to go off, right? Once the Ravage goes off, you're going to see the Leshrac drop a stun, and then GPK can't pump damage into him. If they are able to have GPK stand back and deal damage, then, you know, any hero other than Tide is just going to melt to him. So, for that reason, you know, Dragonlance does actually make a lot of sense to me now when I see it play out. So, up until this Blink Dagger on Tide, if he decides to go for it, it should be a pretty smart item choice, actually, by GPK.
And we're definitely seeing this game in comparison to the first one. VP, they seem a little more active in terms of just making sure that the Collapse, he's just not getting the space that he did in game 1, right? This is going to be a much slower beginning for a Tide that had such a long time to ramp his game up in the first match of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really do think like Collapse comes in at a really clutch timing for their team. Up until the time that he gets his blink, you rarely see T.Spirit kind of group up. And in game 1, you had Yatoro playing a more active hero as he's caught here at the top lane.
He is huge. He has got us under if he gets out, but there's nothing to stop the grip here. Mira was trying to find Save. Nightfall, he's already out through the tree line. He's going to be fine. They'll turn for Save. Should get the Bane. And of course, the bigger loss being theirs. Yatoro taking down VP at the same time. DM applying pressure on the mid. Toronto Tokyo not able to find the lead in.
Yeah, just good. I think this is something VP does really well here. They learned, you know, the last game we had kind of roles reversed, where it was T.Spirit applying the pressure to VP, and now VP's in the commanding position of, you know, we need to make the moves. We need to be the ones taking space. And we mentioned the heroes don't really have tower damage. DM's right on top of the mid tower. As soon as a play happens somewhere else on the map, he's in the tower space, making sure that he forces reactions and just gets that chip damage that is really important for them.
Top set up from Mira. He's got the grab, the opening. TPs are coming in to try and back up Nightfall. Can they burst Nightfall in time? Nightfall, he's got no ult for 20 seconds. and no chance to survive.
Great setup by Mira. They're gonna relocate back out. You see the positioning that VP has on the map right now, there's one core on every lane. They're just trying to farm up as much as possible and control map space. And this forces a lot of the T.Spirit heroes into the triangle here. So they don't really have anywhere to farm. Even though they have heroes that farm faster than the VP heroes, if the game stays static like this, VP is gonna be heavily out farming them just because there simply aren't enough camps. And T.Spirit recognized that and decided to smoke up right away. Yo's finished on Toronto Tokyo too, so now he can finally make his own initiations. Doesn't need to wait for the Ravage to come out.
I mean, they're making a run straight towards GPK, but GPK is aware.
Yeah, and he has that illusion rune bottled up, so that can be used to disjoint the Leshrac stun out of Yules if he times it perfectly.
They still want to get something here, Spirit. Kingslayer, he's going to walk into the action, but GPK is around to try and help them fight. A Hex out, good ward drop as well though. Mira just lays down the Serpent wards, and GPK, he'll quickly follow after the death of Kingslayer. I mean, I guess they felt that they could get a kill whilst the outer time was being focused. I mean, it seemed a little bit of wishful thinking there from GPK on trying to turn that play around.
I mean, Mira's been playing a really sneaky game if you think about it. You expect the Wisp and Leshrac to play together, and normally when Wisp and Lesh show on one side of the map, you expect the team to be on the opposite because they relocate threat, right? You want to put your stuns on the other side of the map so you can relocate over and get pickoffs, but Mira's next leveling it. He knows that VP is going to assume that, so he's running with the Wisp and the Leshrac, and I don't think GPK expected him to be on that side of the map, simply put.
Absolutely. Not at all, it seems. DM is ready to go. In with the blink. Good setup and a good angle here, catching them close to the stairs. The Sleeper's well allowing for a further bounce back and a third into the splitter. Perfect showing there from DM, jumping in with his blink pickup. And this time it was Spirit that weren't prepared for the moves of VP. Mira as well, also to go down. DM leads the way, and they couldn't have set it up any better there. Nightfall picking up every single one of those kills.
Yeah, and now they're definitely going to be eyeing up Roche. There is a Ravage ready for Team Spirit, so they might try to set up the defense in time. I think they're going to have time to TP in their heroes if they run straight away, but
that's going to go down
like
quick.
They're moving. Yeah, it's going down really quick.
So the timing, VP playing for. See Nightfall even eyeing up getting the blink first before the BKB after the defusal. Got a huge cash burst after that. Those last 3 kills, of course, and now here we go. Aegis ready to roll, level 12 as well. VP, we could definitely see them step things up and get even more aggressive now with this timing that they hit.
Yeah, Pangolier roll up in 20 seconds. This is going to be their cue to try to set up a fight. I think probably going to eye up the middle lane tower. Some sort of smoke wraparound is most likely what's going to happen next. As you see, this is something I think is really interesting, because normally we don't really think of Bane as a hero that farms, right? But VP have done this multiple times where they set him up to farm in a side lane. Stun slightly off the mark. But yeah, they will farm up this Bane. They recognize how strong of an item this Aghanim Scepter is for the Bane. And I was talking to AOI about it as well. Like, we don't really think there's any Aghs that changes the hero as fundamentally as the Bane Aghs does. It's just impossible to stop that Fiend's Grip when he has the 2 illusions up.
That makes it very hard to play into. Consider the stuns they do have the ready. I mean, maybe if they get a good Ravage.
Sleep in the top lane. Just burning the Leshrac's mana.
Mid lane. I mean, they found Collapse again. Collapse trying to get a bit of peace here. Will be able to force over the terrain to try and get up to the triangle. Mira locking back Nightfall with the Hex. Collapse. He's looking to turn with the Gush. They're bringing in the backup. Miposhka's brought Toronto Tokyo in with the ult. It's already out for Nightfall. Turns over towards Collapse after Tidal to going down. Miposhka torn apart by the claws of the bear. Nightfall, he's not done yet either. Over to Viper. Now towards Yatoro in the stomp. Allowing VP to set up around. The grip's in. They've caught Yatoro. They may have lost Nightfall the once. But Yatoro, he's dropping low. Stick. Sunder. Back up to a decent amount of HP, but Nightfall's back up. Second life from ready to roll. The Hex momentarily holding back the bear, but Kingslayer and the rest of VP just smashed down the Terrorblade.
A beautiful play from VP there. During all of this, the reason that relocate comes in so late is because the Leshrac slept. They can't relocate in the slept Leshrac, so just beautiful map coordination there from VP and communication. You know, Save runs up top, sleeps Leshrac, they take a fight in the middle lane. Just the understanding of the macro game from VP to play this aggressive is beautiful to watch.
Yeah, excellent usage here the first Aegis. We'll see it once more how the fight starts. Again, the real big difference between this game and the last one seems, VP much more aggressive and so much attention on Collapse, making sure that Collapse is tied. It's just left completely behind this game.
Yeah, and this was a beautiful usage of the Yules. When I saw this, I was like, oh my god, the Viper might actually go down, but he's able to stand his ground and deal just enough damage for Nightfall to clean up the fight. And he's taking so much attention on GPK that, you know, Nightfall just runs around freely and does whatever he wants.
We see it towards the end. Nice little attempts, I mean, but again, sort of just the Bane play from Save, forcing Yatora to stick around and fight that little bit longer than he can deal with.
Yeah, just a great team fight coming out from VP, and they're continuing to apply pressure here in the bottom lane though. T.Spirit have smoked up with Mira and Yatora, and they're looking for some sort of pick-off, but it doesn't really look like it's going to happen. Nightfall sniffs it out. The next big timing coming up is probably the Ursa BKB. That's when you'll see VP probably try to group up and keep applying the pressure. But a very similar story to last game, right? If VP ever takes their foot off the gas, then the scaling of T.Spirit is going to be amazing. And once they start finishing up these items that allow them to survive, like the BKB on the Leshrac and the Eye of Skadi on Yatoro, it gets a lot harder.
Bottom lane, DM is in the back of Nightfall as T.Spirit did try and set up here. Onto the Ursa. We'll see if DM's able to roll his way back out to safety as he is on his own. DM, but the swashbuckle off, stun still hits, and in fact, they're taking them out of there. They don't want to stick around. They know that the rest of VP's making their way over.
Look top though.
Can they catch GPK? He's got the BKB and a TP at the ready. He'll pop it. Not taking any chances here, GPK. He knows that they're all coming over. And VP, they make it away.
Yeah, Save's in trouble. Mira's going to catch him here. There's just so much going on the map. There's like a very intelligent macro game being played. Nightfall stuff.
I mean, Mira, he's dead. Nightfall able to clean him up. Again, just picking apart Spirit. Sort of in the same fashion that Spirit were going for them last game. They have really just stepped up the tempo. Now they sort of looked at the first game, said, all right, this is how you want to play. We can do that too.
Yeah, I think their big difference, like in the T1 Vici series, you saw two teams that they would rather the other team come to them. But in this series, it's kind of like the other way around. Whoever decides to make the first move seems to have an advantage.
I mean, it just seems so hard for Collapse to have a game. Still very much trying to play the catch-up, but he is far behind on the farm.
Forced off buy is just very smart, right? Just gets you straight out of that another Toxin. I just don't really feel like this Viper as an answer to Tidehunter seems to be working. There's just too many ways to get him out of the another Toxin.
I mean, and does that sort of concern you in the sort of the regards to the game going on? Like at the moment, obviously VP, they have a lead, but do you feel that this Viper could become a bit redundant in the later stages if T.Spirit's able to hold on?
I mean, I feel like it explains why he decided to go for this item route at least, and not the route of Atos, because if, let's say he went the Atos, right, Tidehunter would just buy a Force Staff and force himself out of it. So GPK clearly knows something that you and I don't.
Yeah.
And so it's an intelligent item purchase to go for this like Dragonlance BKB build and aim to try to shut down the Leshrac instead of the Tide. They have the Ursa, right? He's going to eventually hopefully buy an Aghanims, and then he can just ignore the Ravage. He gets Ravage, pops his ulti, and he's completely fine.
Yeah, Nightfall certainly on track to hitting great timings this game. See, they've got their eyes down bottom, ready to set up onto Toronto. DM, he's got the lead in, up with the Yules, the bounce back into the Fiend's grip. You see an attempt to take him out there, Miposhka, but he can't get him out in time. Top lane, GPK also starting up some further action for VP. As Mira getting a little too close to the Viper. Should die, tries to hide in the trees, but GPK has got his eyes on them. Mira will fall.
Yeah, and middle lane Collapse has been caught out too. There's just so much going on at once from VP.
I mean, yeah, it's just falling apart really for Spirit. Godlike on the Ursa. Spirit, and they may only be 5k down, but as I say, it's just a complete mirror of the state of the game we had in the last one about 22 minutes in. This time round, VP just ruling the map, and Spirit getting very little chances to really climb their course back into this. The team fights, they're not going to get any easier, it seems, because VP, they're at a stage now where they can just get in, BKB and Diffusal, they can pretty much delete whoever they want to start things off. This Lesh is very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, you know, you want that BKB finish on Leshrac. He would have wished he was eyeing up Shiva's guard at this point, but it's just not looking like it, as he's been caught once again in the middle lane.
So if they want to dive in, though, they don't quite have the Thunder up from DM.
Radiant's top tower
Yeah,
is under
he's eyeing up
attack.
that shard as well, so he's going for that full stun build, just going to try to roll on top of someone, Yule himself. Once he comes down, you know, you use that shard to turn your roll around, stun them again, and just keep permanently silencing these heroes. Or
That's
stunning
solid.
them,
I feel like we see this a lot from VP as well. Sometimes you look at the drafts and you're like, well, there's not enough lockdown, but DM on his Shaker or on something like the Pango when he itemizes like this, you sort of come to the realization that it just doesn't matter because of how much DM can control the fight.
Yeah, and the itemization for it is perfect, right? They're making sure that they're buying the correct items to make up for whatever weaknesses their draft has.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, they know collapse is
Collapse. They're not going to keep looking despite some of the trees being cut.
So if you haven't been there with your hero physically, you can't actually see that the trees have been cut sometimes. We can see it as spectators, but the players in the game won't actually see it until they walk straight next to the tree. So they probably don't know that collapse is there. Sneaky play with the Force Staff there, getting him out of trouble.
We'll see if he wants to show himself to clear out a few more waves. Still 10 seconds on the TP, so he's stuck there momentarily. Back in action, Yatoro. 1,000 gold off his Skadi.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge timing for them. And really, the next big objective here is Roshan. So he's guaranteed going to spawn in about a minute. The teams obviously don't know this, but you're going to notice that both teams are going to start posing themselves around the Roche pit because they want to have vision control there. And we know around 20 minutes in the last game, it was a very similar story where both teams are willing to fight so long as it's under their vision. And it's the exact same thing here. So whoever can control the vision around the Roche pit has an edge leading into this team fight.
Very similar story again with the carries. But once more, Yatoro, Nightfall just on the exact same page when it comes to farm, both fighting for that top net worth here. Of course, Yatoro more focused on the creep hitting. And Nightfall, he's been punching the heroes. 11 kills so far here on the bear. And for that Basher next.
Yep, saves buying a Force Staff, and I believe so is Kingslayer, so they're recognizing that, you know what, they might need to kite out these cooldowns. Once the meta is popped, will have 2 Force Staffs to pull their heroes back and just wait out these cooldowns if they need to. And the same thing for the Leshrac BKB, right? If they don't feel like they can fight into it, they have the tools to decide, you know what, this fight's not good, we're gonna pull out, they've committed meta, and then refight again in about 60 seconds.
Nice Roshan, it's all theirs. No doubt about it. Matter of seconds and Nightfall will be able to finish this one, and they're coming out with the smoke from the bottom half of the map, but it's going to be into an Aegis Ursa. So unless they find a real quick pick to start the fight off with, Spirit are going to have the best of times fighting into VP.
They need the Pango, and they're going to see him here if Collapse keeps running in. This is the best target for them if they can actually kill
He's so
him.
slippery though. With the Shard, the Blink, the Yules, the Thunder, there's just so much to play his way out of there. They have to get some sort of instant catch. It's really all on Mirror.
Yeah.
If he's not able to find the opening, DM's going to get out every single time.
And just speaking about that opening, you see Mira is only 250 gold off of a Blink Dagger, and that will allow him to make that first jump, which is going to be really important for both teams here.
Dire are scanning.
Absolutely, until that's there, they're not going to be able to start off the fights with this Pango dying.
Yeah, GPK is also closing up on finishing Skadi. This will make it very hard for the Leshrac to just keep running in, right? You're going to get slowed down by the Viper during your BKB, and then once your BKB is out, you're absolutely not moving.
Yeah, and he's going to be a beast. Really itemizing up to be this second carry, really, for the team. You know, you're going to have an Ursa in your face, you'll have this Viper off in the distance, just spewing the poison and toxins all over you. It's not a fun fight for whoever starts off on the front from Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely not. I wouldn't want to be a Spirit frontliner playing against these heroes.
I mean, what is the game plan for Spirit now? They must be realizing that they're, every minute they are losing more and more control of the map to VP. Where do you look for the comeback from here for Spirit?
I think it's a similar story to last game where you need to fight on vision so that you can find the correct targets. The whole purpose of fighting on wards is so you can see the backliners of Virtus.Pro and you can catch them before they get their spells off. If they're able to initiate on Viper and he can't BKB and he goes down, that's a huge catch for them. Same thing with the Pangolier, even the Bane, ET, like all these heroes, pretty much anyone except for Ursa is a good initiation for Team Spirit if they can find it. So just look for the wards, look at the minimap wards, and that's the areas that the teams want to fight in. For VP, you have the top area, and for Team Spirit, you have the bottom area where they want to fight. And this is something Spirit does a lot. I've noticed they do this in a lot of their games, where when they're behind, they'll take over the enemy triangle and ward up the entrances. And then if the enemy team approaches, they're willing to take that fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Still a good few minutes on the Aegis VP.
Yeah, they're looking to hunt now. So now the way that you want to approach this game as VP is you want to try to move around the map and force Team Spirit to TP away from it, set up vision on lanes or set up vision on camps where you know the heroes are isolated when they're farming. And then once you have forced the heroes into their base, then you can start forcing them into a team fight. And you see here, Mira's going to TP out, and now VP feel like they have gained control of the bottom side of the map, and immediately they're going to move over the heroes to top. Nightfall TPs into the tier 2 top tower, and now he's going to be on the hunt. He sees the TB on the Ancients. Scandal coming out from T.Spirit. So this is some very high-level plays coming out. Both teams are reading the map very, very well, and they're scouting each other out. And now, if you look at the map again, you see a lot of the T.Spirit heroes are bottling into the bottom side of the map, and Save is going to be in position to catch them.
Oh, grip as well onto Toronto Tokyo. GPK is in with the damage. They need backup. They need it now. Toronto Tokyo, how to put the BKB to get out of here. Mira, he'll be the new focus as GPK turns over towards the Shaman to fall. The Spirit, they've got to run. Nightfall just charging at them here. Right up to the tier 3. Spirit being forced back up to the high ground of their base.
That's just really intelligent macro gameplay from VP. How they move their individual pieces around the map to force the Team Spirit heroes into their base and then find a favorable fight. Now you're going to expect to see them just constantly chasing after them. They get the bottom tower, they know that there are no heroes from Team Spirit bottom, so now expect them to start moving towards the top side.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
See what they can catch here next. See Spirit constantly numbing Poshka +1, normally Toronto Tokyo. Just trying to play their best out on the other side of the map, pushing those waves out.
Yep. You notice, VP, they're not leaving Team Spirit's side.
No.
They're just making sure that Team Spirit cannot get out of their base. They understand that maybe some heroes farming their side of the jungle, as you can see with the pings, but they're making sure that the important one, Terrorblade, he's stuck. He's not getting out.
Oh, they're in. Well, they want to at least Nightfall. Just jumping up to the high ground here. 20 seconds on that Aegis. Just went for the play to see if he could get something done before it expires. Won't be the case. Spirit playing extremely cautious right now.
Yeah, and we see a really intelligent ward placed deep in the VP jungle on the top side from Naposhka. So they're able to farm on Toronto Tokyo and him while they're being contained. This is really smart plays coming out from Team Spirit.
Absolutely.
Doing everything they can while they're behind.
They've managed to sort of slow the bleeding here. Get things done. That's the power of the IO, allowing Toronto Tokyo to play and farm in such positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're always ready to team fight in. You have that relocate to bring you back if needed. And they're getting good vision out. This is a really, really smart play from Team Spirit. And I think VP recognized it, and that's why he saw all their heroes move into the top side of the jungle to try to take control back. And they find that ward. It's a huge D ward by Kingslayer. Game state's kind of slowed down, and it's just both teams, they're waiting for that right fight. They know that they can't be impatient and just run into the enemy team in a bad fashion where they will throw the fight away. Just making sure that, they're fighting in areas where the enemy team will not have wards.
Let's see to the mid here. Both teams opposite side of the lane, waiting for one another to show. Nightfall will step up. Finding under the tier 2. It's probably going to be too much of an ordeal here though for Spirit.
There are pings about smoke wraparounds, and here we go. VP smokes up.
Okay, they're gonna try.
So now here's the question: which angle is Team Spirit not covering, and are they gonna find it?
The collapse is watching with the high ground. Toronto Tokyo's actually gonna blink in straight away into the river. Gets the stun on the other side. Collapses in with the ravages. Caught the 3 of them. It's gonna be Kingslayer going down. Immediate buyback. They'll tell Yutari BKB, but the Phoenix Ghost there will get cancelled for now. Mira taken out here. As they'll try and go for more GPKs onto collapse. Forcing the tide away. TP out. Safe. He's able to get in. Nightmare. Puts a stop to the TP. Collapse. Trying to hide in the trees. Oh, he's actually going to be able to make it out with a blink. They're going to still try and chase their VP. They have seen him in the trees here with the Spirit out. Kingslayer will spot him out. GPK takes him down.
Bottom, Toronto Tokyo also taken out by Nightfall. Great read on the map. Recognizing that he's there. So now Metamorphosis has been used. Ravage has been used. Virtus.Pro's draft basically doesn't have any cooldowns, right? So once DM is back alive, they're most likely going to look to continue the hunt and make sure that you don't allow Team Spirit to farm. Because as long as Team Spirit are farming with these illusions and stuff, you notice the gold lead isn't really increasing. It's just staying at 8,000 gold. It's a battle of who can take over map control. And that's what these fights are really all about. It's not about the kills, it's about who gets map control in the end.
It was a solid start with the Ravage, but Yatoro, he just couldn't get the damage out to start things off.
Yeah, they really need the Terrorblade to be outputting damage, and the Leshrac had blinked in and just immediately been forced to reset out, so there was really no good follow-up on the Ravage, but they get that fight with Terrorblade on top of the Ursa, or Leshrac on top of him, it's going to look very, very different. But what an amazing blink out from Collapse, right? Unfortunately, he gets found out in the end, but still a really cool play.
Still about 50 seconds until we get close to the next Roche potential for VP. Aposhka against the pressure. We'll pick up a jab. Try and regain a bit of this map control against VP's pretty much complete hold. Making it very difficult indeed for Spirit to step out. We've seen it's really Maposhka +1 being able to play the opposite side of the map right now, whilst the vision is as low as it is. They can't really get the rest of the team out.
Yeah, and again you see, once Roshan's starting to spawn, VP move their heroes towards the Roche pit, try to control out that triangle, and they set up their vision here, knowing that, you know what? If you want to fight us as T.Spirit, you're fighting under our wards, you're fighting under our conditions. And this is just exactly how you're supposed to play when you're playing from ahead. Roche is up, early spawn.
A DD rune as well outside of the pit. It's going to be a quick one.
Spirit though, they're smoked up. They're looking to take the fight. Terrorblade meta's up, Ravage is back up. And initiation's everything here.
They've got to get it so quick, but this DD is falling so fast. Spirit, they'll start things off with finding Save. Not a bad way to begin the action. Bane's gone. Save has the buyback if he wants to pop it. Toronto Tokyo has been caught out there by DM. PKB and Yules up into the air. Collapse. He's never going to get the Aegis. He gets the cheese as well. Collapse just walks in. Cheese, it's actually been left behind. He doesn't even want it. He starts to back away. Yatoro gets fully focused by Nightfall. I mean, Collapse may have got the Aegis, but they've lost their carry. They'll lose Collapse. They're almost certainly going to lose him again here off the respawn by Blink. He's not making it away with that TP. Basher from Nightfall kicks in. He will go down. Cheese is still there, but he gets it. He takes the Aegis. Who got the Aghanims out of that?
I believe the Ursa got the Ag.
He did.
He did get the Ags, yes. But yeah, is she still in the pit?
Yeah, still in the pit. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be a TI with a game where, without a game where there's been something left inside there, and this time it's the cheese once again.
Yep, it has a tendency to be the cheese, right?
It does.
Cheese is the item that people leave behind the most. But a great opportunity now for VP to go high ground. There's no Ravage, and there's no meta. And could you ask for a more timely bash than the one that Nightfall got? Right as the TV wants to look for that Sunder opportunity, bash.
Yeah, Yatoro just has such a hard time trying to get a fight going. It's just so much controlling him, even with the BKB. Bashes, grips. It's not an easy game for this Terrorblade to play whilst he's as behind as he is now. Now, 18k lead overall for VP. That was a very costly team fight loss for Spirit. They can't afford to lose another like that, otherwise this game's done for.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do notice VP do have some problems with their draft right. They can't break that high ground. And you touched on the early game. There isn't really tower push here. So VP are going to need T.Spirit to come out of their base in order to be able to get this high ground push. So what you'll see VP do here is they're going to split up, try to farm up as many resources as they can, and T.Spirit, knowing that, at some point will feel like, okay, we're falling way too far behind, and force them to come out of the base. But not having Aegis basically bought them 10 minutes. They gave up a fight, but they bought themselves about 10 minutes of like being contained in their base. So it's always something.
I mean, and honestly, I feel that comeback potential can absolutely be there. You know, Collapse on the tide. I feel like we've seen so many times. If he can get that refresher, the double Ravage, that can make wonders happen in these team fights. Bottom though, outside of the base, Mira run down by DM. And Poshka was able to make it out with the tether TP. Good job he did go for the tether before TPing out. But now has left Toronto Tokyo on his own.
This is huge. I saw something really, really interesting. If you guys click the inventory of Kingslayer, he has 4 healing salves that he sent out. They're recognizing that, you know what, if we want to go high ground, it's going to be a slow push, and we're going to need resources to deal with a poke. So sends out 4 salves for his teammates. Great.
I mean, he's been digging them up as well.
Oh, that's true.
This man keeping the shovel out.
He's been keeping the shovel. That probably is how he got the salves. Makes a lot of sense, Owen. Thanks.
He's digging them up nicely. There's another one. 5 salves. He's finding all the heals, but as you say, definitely going to be able to put use to them if VP want to keep knocking at the door of Spirit. As slow and, you know, as it will be, it will take time. Maybe, you know, GPK is able to pick up the shard eventually. Give them a little bit extra to take those buildings down.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see, VP, they're not too concerned, right? They understand that right now T.Spirit are not gaining any resources. We finally have what we wanted. For the last 37 minutes, this is what they've been fighting for. They've been trying to force T.Spirit back into their base to allow them to just farm all the resources on the map and get as ahead as they can.
I mean, Nightfall's just absolutely massive. Nearly level 25. Has the full Satanic done. Ag Shard, he is ready to end this.
Yeah, I think the second Spirit steps out, they're gonna pounce. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them happy just farming out until Roshan comes otherwise. VP's gonna set their map up here with, like, I think Save is gonna play close to whatever hero's playing aggressive on lanes. And then if he can find a grip on a target, that's when VP's gonna really try to collapse. No pun intended.
It is a lot about the tide.
Yeah, he's eyeing up a refresher. He's about halfway there, but
I mean, he's just had such a hard game. You know,
yeah,
1-7-1. They have completely shut Collapse down this game.
Yeah, he's been involved in 2 kills in 38 minutes. It's not a fun game to be the Tidehunter.
Yeah, especially when you say, you know, for Spirit, a lot of their game plan does revolve around Collapse being the main playmaker.
Yeah, I really think he's like their mid-game piece. And if you think about the story of this game, they didn't have a mid-game. Their mid-game was just running away from VP and trying not to give away kills.
Oh, look at that. Okay, yeah, okay, it's up to the 89. I was going to say, yeah, that 66 was earlier. So yeah, up to 89% of the win probability. And also, Miposhka's out. Toronto Tokyo will take out Kingslayer. They get the Serpent Wards down as well. Mirror with the grab onto save. There's both for VP supports gone. Can they get more ammunition? Toro is in with the metamorphosis and the BKB. Jump for collapse, has the Ravage. Nightfall knocks down. Stun from the Toronto Tokyo. Nightfall getting low, taken down. They get the answer. A big kill here for Spirit. What more can they find? Up to the high ground, they're trying to chase GPK, but GPK's got the backup. Kingslayer buying back in action for Yatoro. Sunder back up to full HP, tries for the TP out, but the damage is done. Yatoro will fall. Spirit, they lose their carry at the end of it, but not a bad hit and punch into VP there as a fair bit of damage is done.
Yeah, and they take out the important heroes, right? There's no Ursa, so there's no high ground threat. They're buying themselves more time. These fights, they're going even, but when you go even when you're behind, that's actually favoring you because you're getting more gold from the fights, the enemy team is ahead, and you're also delaying for this late game timing. So if we click on Collapse, you know, slightly closer to your
progress.
refresher.
It is progress.
Absolutely. And look at his inventory. I think this is so cool. While he's dead, he's placed the Philosopher's Stone in his inventory. It's just all those small things add up, right? It's really, really cool to see this coming out from pro players. So while you're dead, put in the Philosopher's Stone, get that extra bit of gold.
I mean, 'cause we already saw in that fight, despite as far down as they are, the potential when that Ravage does come into play and Yatoro is able to stand back and get the hits in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If they can have the Terrorblade in the right position once the Ravage goes off, it's huge. Up top,
6 up. We've got the Hex in. DM trying to cover them from the side. He's ready to go over the Rolling Thunder. GPK with the BKB turns over to Toronto Tokyo. Toronto Tokyo buys some time with the self-fuels, but he's surely going down. He's forced aside. No, Essence Ring is still alive. Stuns attentive with the Hurricane Bite. Oh, he's alive! He's alive!
What a save!
They get him out! Toronto Tokyo will survive for now! Mirror goes down, but the Lesh will live to see another day here thanks to Miposhka.
What a crazy save, man. Oh, there's some really high-level Dota going on here, and it's beautiful to watch. I'm really, really enjoying this game. GPK's item build. I really did not see this playing out in the early game, right? We were talking about the Atos, but it's so smart. He has the AC, he has Scotty. He can tank them up.
He is. Yeah, 6-2-11. He's having a great time on the Viper here. We'll see this replay again. I mean, they make this what seems to be an ambitious attempt on GPK. It doesn't end up being that bad of a try at all. And just look how low Toronto Tokyo gets. Miposhka able to switch targets here and just get him out at the final possible moments, it seems.
Oh my god.
Literally the less than a second on the relocate back out. Miposhka.
What a play.
What a move.
There's so many crazy high-level plays going on, man. Every spellcaster, from the Hex on the Viper, you know, the Pango sitting behind the Viper in case he gets caught. It's just both teams are playing so well. It's a very enjoyable game to watch. And now we have tier 4 items coming out.
Oh, Timeless Relic. That's a tasty one.
Is he keeping the Essence Ring?
Oh, that Essence Ring might be a bit of a good luck charm. It did save him that last fight. He might want to hold on to it. Well,
I think it might have been a misclick. Surely it must have been a misclick.
Yeah, he's got it back out. He does.
I think he probably a little bit too quick. I know this has happened to me sometimes.
Sure.
Try to drag it in, send it back too fast.
He's a team player. You know, he picks up a nice item. He wants to make sure that everybody else gets a chance to grab it. But indeed, Timeless Relic back out on Toronto, Tokyo, and that, yeah, quite the item, of course, for the Leshrac.
Yeah, absolutely. They also got a telescope. They haven't decided who to put it on yet, but great item. Adds attack range to your Terrorblade, gives you cast range on all your heroes. For a hero like Shadow Shaman, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him trade off the Psychic Headband for the telescope, but it seems like, you know, that's not the focus right now. They're not thinking about neutral items. They just gave away a Roshan.
They did. They're able to pick it all up here, and that's what it's the 4th one this game, right? Refresher Shard, Ag's Blessing, both coming out of that one.
Yeah.
See Ursa. Well managed to get the Enrage off, but now the meta's up. Yasura wants to try and fight this. The BKB shortly coming to an end for Toronto, Tokyo, though. He's got to start running Maposhka. He's ready to take him out again. We'll bail him out as they manage to back off there from VP, trying to run him down. Of course, off that return to the pit as well, they do now have the 2 cheeses on VP. DM's got his Kingslayer as well.
That could be huge for Kingslayer. When you're playing Elder Titan this late into the game, your biggest problem is getting on top of the Terrorblade for long enough for your natural order to deal the damage that he can, right? If they can combine, as it looks, I hear sleep. That's just an illusions. Yeah, if they can get that natural order on top of the Terrorblade and then have the Ursa hit during that period of time, that's like if Cheese gives them 2 seconds, that's enough. That's all they will need for the natural order to deal its damage.
Yeah. And that last, the pickup, the Ag's Blessing, going to save as well, as you were talking about, very strong Ags. So this is going to be an excellent addition to VP's team fight here, especially with the way that Save has already been able to make those big ults happen. And, you know, Yatoro's life getting harder. He's got to keep himself completely away from this Bane, otherwise Save will look to lock him down.
Yep.
Trying to jump, but alright, GPK, he's gone in as well. Slides himself back down to the low ground with a Hurricane Pike, mirrors out. DM diving under the tier 4s with the Rolling Thunder. There's the grip. Save has the control onto Yatoro. Yatoro needs help. He needs it now. He's not going to get it. The splitter comes out. Kingslayer takes down Yatoro. No buyback on the Terrorblade. He hasn't got the dollar.
It's huge opening. It's beautiful. You see how fearless they are. Immediately they see Mira out of position. Go. Entire team commits to it.
Collapse. Trying to draw their attention away from the base.
Does have a buyback, so they're just trying to buy time for the Terrorblade to spawn, but I don't know, and I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, there's so much money on GPK. GPK just rolling around with 7,500 in the bank.
Yeah.
So much money. They're going to look to try and end.
I think they recognize it, you know, the way the Tyrantro was playing, that's just not normal. If you have buyback on TV, that's not the kind of play you're going to make. And VP can read that off of the movement, and they recognize there's no buy.
What can they do without their Terrorblade? 30 seconds. The towers taken out here. Top 4. Nightfall is in up to Toronto, Tokyo. Goes set to Toronto, Tokyo. A lift for now. Nightfall is low. They'll turn over towards Mirror, but again, just dropping these wards down. Everything they can possibly do to take VP's attention off the base.
15 seconds.
GPK committing with the BKB, but Collapse is able to slide back to the fountain.
There is a refresher shard on the Viper though, so he will have that BKB back up.
10 seconds until the Terrorblade, but VP, they're looking to end it. Refresher shard in the second round of the BKB, they've got the grab, but the damage comes in for Collapse. It doesn't matter with the BKBs. VP can focus the Ancient and end the game. As game 2, Virtus.Pro will manage to keep the series even. 1-1 now between VP and Spirit. We're getting a game 3, Aiden.
And this was just a masterclass from VP.
Allowing for a later pick for the cause. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just go for a casual offlane, but maybe because of the Tiny already showing.
Some crazy Legion Commander 5.
Oh, okay. Snap 5 is the other option.
Yeah, that also works.
Oh, that's
perfectly fine.
Insta kill the egg. Some follow up for Tiny. Snap Tiny's pretty good. You know, you cookie Tiny in.
If this was OG, which it
well,
isn't, Legion
impossible.
5 versus Phoenix and Bane, sounds very tasty. But yeah, Snapfire is also very good.
The thing with Snapfire that I really enjoy so far at TI is the value of ultimate at objectives that you don't really want to defend, but you can defend through just yeeting out that Mortimer's Kisses, right? Like the creep wave comes in, bam, that's gone. Couple heroes now half HP. You don't really have the resources to then hit the tower. So a single Snapfire, if in the correct position, can really punish any kind of 3 or 4 man moves to an objective if, of course, you connect on the Mortimer's Kisses correctly.
Kind of a cool pick with Tiny, too, because you put the minus armor on towers, and Tiny's like already a great hero for taking down towers. Probably the fastest hero in Dota currently for killing towers.
For killing anything.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
it's disgusting, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
You mentioned that you wanted them to pick a Collapse hero. Is there any reason why you... So Collapse played Tiny, I think once, at least during the group stage. Primarily, it's been a Toronto-Tokyo hero. Would you prefer an offlane Tiny, or would you prefer a mid Tiny?
I think they lost that game.
They did, yeah.
This is, Tiny. I think, just throw it into the carry. Like, you could see some type of mid scenario, but I think we've just seen how carry Tiny, if with the correct enablers, is so strong. But so now with the Snapfire, this is kind of just, in our minds, just going to be the carry, the Tiny, you get your normal items, you get the Shard, the BKB, the Silver Edge, you throw up, you get the Aegis and you just rock up into the enemy face and just take their objectives, right? Like it's a very simple starter Dota.
So the Tiny that you're talking about, Tsunami, probably was somewhere in the group stages, am I correct?
Yeah,
I think it was, yeah.
The hero wasn't necessarily as discovered back then as he is right now. And most teams understand that if you don't put this hero on position 1, if you don't put Tiny as that Silver Edge carry, it just doesn't feel right. It's not as potent.
Quickly mention Snapfire because yes, it's good against the ultimate of the Phoenix, but T.Spirit, even though they've had great success throughout TI10, just in general, this will be their 7th game. They've got 6 games so far with it. It's 2-4. And that seems a little rough.
And it doesn't have a good win rate in this tournament either. It's a 38% win rate despite being picked so much.
It had a pretty solid win rate at the beginning of this tournament because it was being played in a combination with Tidehunter. And that lane is pretty potent. You have a lot of minus armor, then you can combo that with some TA on mid lane, Venge and whatnot. But on its own, Snapfire doesn't seem as the most broken position for it.
And Tide already banned as well, so what other offlaners would you like to see a Snapfire with?
I think the Night Stalker that we had mentioned earlier would be good. They could go all in on minus armor, pick up a Slardar.
But the egg, the sun, it burns.
That's right.
There's still Earthshaker. That's kind of the go-to. It's like a weird one because literally like just before this tournament, the Earthshaker offlane was completely unheard of, and then all of a sudden it's the offlaner. But then some teams completely ignore it as well. They're like, no, that's not legit. But that would be the one because you can like cookie the Earthshaker in. You know, some stun set up for the Snapfire abilities, the Snapfire ultimate.
Have we mentioned Tusk yet? The collapse offlane Tusk?
Not yet.
Put that in with a Snapfire, just go all out skirmish.
I'd like to see some One Punch Man. That
you go
dope.
One Punch Man. Like, of course, Phoenix probably not the best because you can egg, but then you have the Snapfire already. But I could see that being an option. If VP fully lean into 5 offlane bans, Collapse might go, all right, lads, let's just have a bit of fun. Let's go for it.
Curveball, they are banning out 5 offlane heroes. We've seen earlier this tournament the Tiny for Collapse. Yeah. I know it didn't win, but it's still on the table.
This is what I was hoping for even before the thing started. At least now that you are blowing some flex potential on Spirit rather than saying this is going to be Collapse's hero. Now it's, I mean, all 3 cores of Spirit have played Tiny before. So now if they go hard in the paint on banning out offlaners on VP,
you have to
He's giggling.
He's like, oh my god, they're banning out all my heroes and I
so
already
when this
got
happens, as a player, you feel so proud.
So
you feel so good.
It's one of the best things to have all your heroes banned out against you.
I feel like they're just forcing him to pick Earthshaker now. Like, I don't see what else you can pick as an offlane right now.
They broke it. It's the Shadow Demon last.
And then they go, okay, they go for a
Luna. Okay.
That actually makes sense. So they banned out the Shadow Demon to protect the Luna. Also, the Legion Commander that was mentioned earlier as a 5, in its real role is a position 3. So they ban her out as well, as it enables Tiny, plus it counters Bane a bit. So.
And if you think about Collapse's hero pool, right? Luna is one of the best heroes at dealing with these tankier style of offlanes, enabling the ranged forward to be kind of the big damage dealer. Like, you know, Tide, Mars, Mag, Nightstalker, etc., even though most are banned. Any of the other melee heroes left for Collapse, which he loves to play, aren't going to be too comfortable at winning the lane against a Luna, right?
Man, they're running low on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very low on time.
Ooh, a Doom.
Okay. Oh, double insta-pick.
Doom Lina.
Damn, this looks like a T1 draft.
Yeah, I know, right? But that's only because of the Doom. I'm still not a fan of the anti-synergy between Eclipse and Supernova on the side of VP. That was the good reason why you guys were not too hot on the idea of a Night Stalker. Team fights look complicated for VP. And Doom, I'm surprised that they go for it.
Is it day? Is it night?
But
yeah,
it's not like Luna's like has less day vision or something. It's fine.
It's fine. It's not a big
Night
deal.
Stalker's
Explain to me
unplayable.
the day and night, please.
beautiful.
So the Phoenix egg makes it daytime, and that overrides absolutely everything. So Night Stalker is hard countered by that, even if Phoenix is on your own team, because you lose your Hunter in the night passive.
Yeah.
But Luna, you're losing the nighttime advantage of having more vision, which the egg gives you so much vision that I feel like it's not
playable,
It's
right.
It's totally playable. Night Stalker's like legit unplayable. Like abandon if you have a Night Stalker and a Phoenix on your team in a pub.
I assume that this Doom, though, is going to be the offlane, right? Because with the Lina pickup, you want that to be mid, Tiny's your carry, Snap's most likely your 4. And yeah, it's just going to be that casual Doom in the offlane, most likely skipping some waves. You're not really going to be pressuring Luna, but you're just trying to get as fat as possible. So when your Tiny and Lina are ready, you join up together.
Is there something on the side of Virtus.Pro that they can pick for GPK here? If that's the case, to counter the Lina instantly, I don't feel there's too many heroes. We've seen some TAs, but with Luna it would feel a little bit too greedy. They go for an Invoker. Susceptible to being just doomed and then useless, but so is every other single hero in the game.
But at least in this scenario, if it's a Quaswex Invoker, he can at least put everything onto the Luna, be it the Alacrity, a Soda Crest, or whatever. So if you are doomed, Luna can stand her ground and at least try and take whatever fight's possible.
I just hoped that they thought about this fact that if you are banning out all the offlaners before you pick your own,
Yeah, that is a problem.
you might be facing a problem later.
And the key thing here is VP's offlaner, it kind of needs to be that kind of BKB piercing style of offlaner stun, because when Doom gets BKB, Tiny gets BKB, Lina gets BKB, they all want to buy it by 20 minutes. You're going to be dealing with a triple core lineup that actively wants to be in your face. So VP doesn't have that.
You do have Bane at least. That's BKB piercing, right? But besides him,
Beastmaster still on the
gonna
pool.
be, yeah.
This is a great Quaswex Invoker game. If you're Tiny or Doom, like we talk about Tiny, like what's the most important thing about this hero? The guy runs around with like 4,000 HP, and you're like, you just can't kill him. Obviously, on Invoker, Quaswex, you're probably going to get a Spirit Vessel, so that's going to help out. But also, if Tiny has no mana, he's not as useful. Sure, he can right-click people with the tree, which we've seen happen a lot, but you can get kited. You become like a Sven at that point. It's like a kiteable hero. So just mana draining these like tanky heroes that also use their mana is super effective.
If it is a Yatoro playing Tiny, by the way, that would indeed be his 10th different hero on main stage TI.
and Virtus.Pro, they just banned out the Faceless Void, so they're expecting maybe something different. And T.Spirit's Centaur would fill Virtus.Pro's lineup so well that I really respect this ban. Afterwards, the Sand King. I think Sand King perhaps not as strong.
What offlaners are there other than Earthshaker?
Night Stalker.
Underlord.
Okay, neither team can Night Stalker.
Yeah, don't do it.
So I can tell you what both DM and Collapse have played. Tusk is also still in the pool, the one that T-Gov mentioned.
I'm down for a Tusk for Spirit.
But the Vengeful Spirit, Night Stalker, Shaker.
Wait, I thought we're looking at Doom offline.
Yeah, I think so too.
Swap it up. Why not? Go quick.
Well, we're looking for a VP offlane here, though.
Sure. Okay. So, but our Spirit looking for a Yatoro hero. Where's this Tiny going?
I would assume they are still looking for. The 5. No, it's the 5, right? It's the 4 Snap.
That's not what VP think. VP banned out.
Well, it could be a 4 Doom too. I mean,
in 8 seconds we'll know.
They have such little reserve time. We'll just know.
Yeah, we'll just know. It will be.
I don't know.
Okay. Absolutely nothing.
I don't know anything.
Silencer most likely going to be support. Surely you don't want to give him that much farm priority. The biggest impact he's going to have is pressing his big R button, making sure everybody is silenced.
Hard counters the Phoenix too. If you cast whatever the last word on the Phoenix as he's flying away, he just comes back.
Isn't that your segment, Jenkins? Last word?
That is my segment. Oh no, I forgot. Oh, there's the Beastmaster. The only remaining offlaner in the game.
Not only do they have BKB piercing ability from Beastmaster, it synergizes really well with Luna and the whole playstyle. What they needed this frontliner that can also push and bring some map control to the game, a lot of vision. I think it's the perfect hero here, and as a silencer, you truly don't like to be playing into all the summons running your way. However, when it comes to the silencer, there are some positives, right, Stigov?
Yeah, I mean, why are you throwing that on me straight away? I was thinking of something else. Yeah, no, honestly, I think Silencer is really good right now. I think people hate on Silencer for no reason other than it's a good hero to some degree. But I think Spirit, they needed something in their draft to be able to give them that way where if VP run at them, they can just set the scene in these earlier fights. Like when BKBs come out, of course, it's going to be a bit hard for Silencer to have fun, but the idea is the pre-20 minute, when Doom's farming, Tiny's farming, Lena's farming, they needed that way to say, no, we don't want to take this fight, we want to go again in like 2-3 minutes time. So I like the idea from Spirit reacting like this, but VP with the Beastmaster pick, it is giving them that nice window where Luna, Beastmaster, Invoker together with an Aegis won't really care about the value of a Doom, the value of a Global. They just have to run straight through that. So Spirit, it's going to be a bit of a long one, but equal drafts.
That means that that the Roshan is going to be key for this series, for this third game rather, Jenkins, right?
I'm actually getting VG T1 Game 2 vibes from this draft from VP, where I think there are so many ways for them to win the game between the Beastmaster summons, empowering the Luna with the Invoker Alacrity. They've got the Phoenix Sunray versus the Tiny. I really think this is a tough game for Team Spirit to win. Like, they can definitely go super late and then win, or they can snowball, but VP has a lot more opportunities to win the game just because they have more like cheese heroes, more options.
Yeah, I feel Virtus.Pro, they have a lot of synergy. And Team Spirit, they have the Osrog rock guy. So.
Yeah, that's how exactly.
And look, there he is up front. Beautiful.
Big boy.
Beautiful indeed. All right, guys, it is game 3 time. Before we head into the game, we got a quick word from the coach. It is this time Silent from Team Spirit.
Silent, thank you so much for joining me. Now, in the last game, Virtus.Pro targeted Collapse, and now they have targeted him in the draft. Do you feel confident about his chances in this game?
About our chances or just...
About Collapse.
Collapse. I think we're okay. It's decent drafts. It more depends who would play better.
It does depend who plays better, but this is $1 million draft. If you win this game, you are top 4. Is it good enough?
Maybe. I didn't think about it.
You didn't think about the draft. Fantastic. Well, this is going to be quite the showdown. So we're going to head over to ODPixel and Insania to get this game underway.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, the deciding game now between Virtus.Pro and Team Spirit, a game which will be the last at this TI for one of the two. Insania, what do you make of this approach this time round? Quite a change, if I feel, from what we've had so far from both of these teams in this series. What are you liking?
So, I think there are strengths to both drafts. I don't want to bias any viewers at home watching. I don't want to give them any feeling that either team is stronger or weaker, but I'll tell you guys what the strengths are. So I think VP, they're looking to buff up this Luna, right? You're going to have Alacrity, you're going to have Beastmaster Aura, you're going to have Sunray. It's going to be all about the Luna for them. I think stacking of Ancients, just like basically playing the macro game in the early game, and then having this 4-man of Invoker, Beastmaster, Bane, and Phoenix running around and applying pressure to Team Spirit. Whereas Team Spirit, there's going to be like this tricore. You're going to have the Doom with a lot of farm, you're going to have Tiny with a lot of farm, you're going to have Lena with a lot of farm, and then they're going to look to power through and try to kill that one target. So basically it is, if Luna dies without an Aegis later on in the game, VP's teamfight's done. They're relying heavily on the Luna to output the physical damage for them. And if they can't kill Luna, then 1v5 Nightfall is going to happen.
Sure, and we've seen Nightfall do that many times before. Both games really. Both Nightfall and Yatora have been solid on the farm, solid on the carry. See what sort of timings they can hit this time round. Of course, Yatora, this game on the Tiny, one of those heroes that's been first picked many a time here at this TI, and a lot of times taken away, getting it through here in this all-important game. Spirit almost certainly going to be feeling very happy, at least with the opening 2 from their draft. A great way to go into this.
Yep. I would expect Team Spirit to have a little bit of an edge in the middle lane. I think as the levels start coming out, Lena should be edging out the Invoker slightly, as she has the option of farming out that small camp and pushing out the middle lane. So expect Toronto Tokyo to be off to a great start. Top lane between Luna Phoenix and Doom Snapfire, you don't really have a lot of like kill threat from either side. So you're mostly going to see them try to contest a lot for CS. You're using that Luna aura together with the Phoenix. Pretty decent attack damage to just get creep control creeps. So both Doom and Luna should have a pretty good time up here top. And then bottom lane, I think, is where you might see some action happen between Save and Akoshka, trying to get some trades going. And this is really where I see kill threat potentially happening. If you're out of position and getting slowed by the boars, could lead to a kill.
And do you like sort of the sort of the closing from Spiritual, the fact that they get this silencer in the support position? like, what is this going to offer for them in terms of timing and team fight?
Right, so if you think about it, VP's draft, the way it comes together, it's going to be all about Luna, right? And they need to cover her, they need to heal her, they need to be applying these buffs to the Luna. And if they're able to just stop any sort of counter initiation, stop these buffs from coming out, stopping these heals from coming out, and they're able to burst them during that global silence duration, that might just be enough for them to win the game. So it makes sense, I understand what they're thinking, but you know, theoretical Dota doesn't always play out that way when you're on the main stage of TI, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get that execution right and find the fights where they're allowed to use their spells that way, as he's in a little bit of trouble here in the bottom lane.
We have it. First blood for Save. Obviously trading. I mean, is any sort of support against a Bane in lane? It's never easy, especially when it's Save on the Bane. He always knows how to read the matchup and when he can push himself.
Yeah, I would argue Save on these like ranged lane dominant heroes arguably is the best position for in the world. This is his dream playstyle, so not too surprised by seeing that. We see up top actually the Luna is falling a little bit behind the Doom and the CS. I didn't expect that this early on, so maybe they're able to push that lead. As Kingslayer's in a bit of trouble, but gets away just fine.
Kingslayer is gonna be forced right back here by Mira, so plenty of room for Collapse to pick up the farm. Nightfall being forced to CS here underneath the tower.
Money to burn.
I think at this level, you know, that should not be too much of a problem. He has a level 2 Luna, Lucent Beam as well.
I'll say that, I think he missed one of them. There we go, he's got this one. Yes, easy. Easy peasy.
Yeah, and I mean, the timing up here in the top lane is really the level 3. That's when the level 3 on the Phoenix, sorry. That's when they have the damage to potentially threaten a kill on Mira. I wouldn't really expect Collapse to have too much trouble going through this lane with the start that he's at. He's already up at 20 CS. And here we go, initiation on Nightfall.
Yep. Straight in they go. Won't be able to stay on top of it. But the damage being done out.
Yeah.
How much regen they have between the two of them? They don't actually have any. Just the stick charges on Nightfall. One Verifier on Kingslayer. Pressure definitely getting to them.
Sorry. The worst part is the boots just got delivered to Nightfall, so his courier's not in base for him to get any regen.
Definitely in a bit of a fragile position now, VP. These two being as low as they are.
Yeah, I think the top lane is doing above expectation, and you know, we've been talking about Collapse a lot, and this is the reason why. He has the skill to pull out plays like this.
And they go. They get the cookie connection. Nightfall will turn, but the range is there from Mira. Gets taken out. I mean, you knew that T.Spirit were going to go for that, sitting as low as they were up here. I mean, VP's just lack of regen getting completely punished.
Yeah, absolutely. And just great find from T.Spirit. I didn't really expect this top lane to have this much action going on. I expected that more to be happening in the bottom lane, but yeah, top lane going very, very well for Spirit. 26 CS on the Doom, but you see at the bottom lane, DM's matching that. And these are both like very scary heroes to have a great early game on.
A very even CS elsewhere. I mean, mid lane. Actually, mid lane, we are starting to see Lina being able to clean up the waves a bit more effectively than GPK and farm that small camp.
Yeah, and that really is the advantage that she has here. I expect Toronto Tokyo, very standard build, most likely going to see the boots of travel into some sort of BKB into damage item. Might even sneak into Yules there, just because when you're going up against something like Bane or like that, you want to have as many disables as possible. You do have the global silence to cancel it, but ideally you want to have the freedom of using the global silence to cover your team fights and not be forced to save it to react to like a Fiend's Grip or something like that.
Bottom save. It's going to start setting up onto Miposhka, but DM not quite able to get around and get any hits in. And now, it's going to be T.Spirit able to turn back in, toss underneath the tower, save. But the Verifier, and he's taking tower hits, he'll go down. Can't quite get him for another brain sap. A little too close there, and Yatoro ready to punish it with the toss.
Oh, perfect gameplay there from T.Spirit. And looking at the laning phase now that's shaping up, I think most things are going quite as expected, but both the Luna and the Doom are actually quite low on the net worth compared to the opposite end. So seems like both heroes are suffering. I think that favors Team Spirit, right? Because if you think about VP's draft, they need this Luna to be fat. She's going to be the one outputting the damage. And Collapse has the recovery tool in his Devour, so things going pretty well for them up here top. But the Beastmaster definitely is a problem. Helm of Dominator just finished up on him.
And with sort of the Beastmaster and the Luna Yeah, who's going to be grouping up sooner this game, would you say, when you look at these two drafts?
I think VP's draft is probably going to be the one that groups up faster. And I think T.Spirit's job is going to be to disrupt that, to not allow them to get the objectives the way they want to, and like try to kill them before they're able to group up.
I do see in the mid lane, Toronto Tokyo did take the walk back to base to refuel. If he heads anywhere other than the mid when he gets back out on the map, he's just going to return it, keep on farming.
Yeah, and GPK is TP top. They want to make sure Luna is able to start farming as effectively as she can.
Spirit are keeping completely away from this. Only in the trees by the tier 1 GPK. We just have to spend his time sweeping back to mid, where Save will have a bit of a setup onto Toronto Tokyo. GPK trying to come in and help out. Save might be in trouble. Toronto Tokyo has got that Laguna to commit with, and Save, he tries his best to high ground the tree line, but Toronto Tokyo does still find him. He's in a lot of trouble for this though. Cold snap and the EMP into the stun from DM's Centaur.
That's a really nice play from Save there, completely baiting him out. And then, you know, it was so close to him juking it out. If he gets that juke, he survives, what an amazing play. But really nice response there. You see, this first earn charge for Invoker is really important. And that's sometimes the hard part of playing Invoker. When you're stuck in your lane, you're unable to get it. You saw him TP top, not find a kill, but then rotates back mid and sets up the opportunity for him to get that. So now he has that earn. If he wants to make it move, it's much easier.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Toro, he's able to find Kingslayer. And with the curses upon him, it's going to be quite the bit of damage ticking in, but GPK's there to try and help out. Curses still tick down Kingslayer. Toro burst out of mana. DM closing the gap in with the roar. He'll have the follow-up lockdown if necessary, but the right clicks alone, that'll do it. Yatoro trying to run, but completely surrounded by GPK, DM, and his Centaur.
Yeah, pretty funny little interaction there as DM took over the Centaur that was already EMP'd by his own Invoker, so he couldn't use the stun.
And top lane, Mirror does end up going down here. We see a quick move once more. GPK making sure to get involved in all of this early action, keep those charges up.
Yeah, GPK just in the right place at the right time, and when he's not, he makes sure he has the TP ready to get over there. He's having a very good start to this game. You would expect around 9 minutes for the Selena to be the one that's ahead and dominating.
DM, he just walks under the tower, kills off Miposhka. And TPing over to punish him for this. See if they're actually able to do so. The kiss is coming out, but DM, he's just going to go straight for the TP away. And there is nothing to stop that man.
VP are set up here. We have a level 5 on Phoenix with the Invoker, but their judgment here is that we don't have enough damage to kill the Tiny. So they're waiting for the Beastmaster to rotate back, but...
They're going to try! But you're right, even with the opening, it's not enough to burn through Yatoro straight away. Yatoro's actually looking to turn back in with a cookie over towards GPK.
Oh, he misinvoked. He invoked Cold Snap, so he doesn't have Invis for another 2 seconds. Can they chase him down, though?
They've got the toss. He's got it back up now, but the curse is already in place. Sentry ready to drop as well as GPK will die.
Oh, that one's got a sting. He misinvoked. He definitely wanted the Ghost Walk, but he got the Cold Snap instead, so unable to make the distance there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But yeah, you see the Luna now heading back into the jungle, starting to farm up these stacks and recovering his early game. And this is going to be really the key thing for VP, I think. How much pressure can they apply with the other heroes? They have Phoenix Egg back up now. They have Roar, Catapult Wave bottom. Beastmaster's gameplay, it sometimes just becomes pretty predictable because you're mostly going to look to push around the Catapult timings because that's when you get that bonus tower damage. And that is what I expect them to go for here. Most likely going to see the Phoenix rotate bottom, try to use that Catapult to apply pressure to the tower. And Spirit looks like they want to fight. They're setting up.
So at the 600 Poshka, so global, we'll be ready to break through the combo that VP will want to play with. Supernova, of course, up for them on their side.
So VP here, they're noticing that Nightfall's not getting pressured in the top lane, and this means that there are no heroes there, right? Nightfall's able to farm top, he's not getting pressured. That means DM's about to get ganked, and what do you see DM do? Fall back straight to his triangle, wait for support to come by, and now they're going to make the attempted push with all their heroes in position. Great plays from VP. They're reading the map so well right now.
They will now start to push a little further on this bottom lane.
Yeah.
Toronto Tokyo and bots at the ready will be able to join engagements. It looks like Spirit mirroring the pressure here up top.
Yeah, Spirit recognizing, you know what, we have the better scaling. We don't need to force any fight if we don't have to. Collapse has that Midas queued up. He actually already has it finished, and he has a BKB queued up, which he already has one piece for, so he's incredibly farmed. And it's only going to start ticking in faster. He doesn't even have Devour maxed out yet, and he's already on top of the net worth graph. It's going to be a real problem for VP, this Doom.
2K lead on the passiveness. Will definitely show itself in the farm here for Spirit. VP not quite able to find a catch there with the swing around, but they'll split themselves back up. Pressure will remain on the bottom from DM.
Yeah, VP support's also moving towards the top side of the map, recognizing that DM's not under any pressure. Spirit's not looking to fight this, so moving their Phoenix back top, keeping him close by the Invoker, so they always have the damage to fight back if somebody gets caught.
Spirit, they want to make a move.
Yeah, they don't want to just have the Space Master controlling all their space. They don't want to get stuck in their base like they did last time.
Not even just so the Bane save's been keeping them out of their jungle completely, so they've got to try and flush them out here.
But you notice, like right now, Tiny doesn't really have a lot of space to farm. He's dropping down. He was doing very, very well at the start of the game, but at this point, there's just not many camps for them to farm. So I feel like VP are doing a good job of controlling the pace, but I'm scared of this Doom, Owen. He's getting really, really fast.
He's going to get massive. And even if Yatoro's farm gets shut down a bit, Toronto Tokyo on the Lina, we've seen it many times. The Lina can very easily carry a game on her own back as well with the damage that they can do later on.
Absolutely, and I think T.Spirit, they're like one of the few teams that I see do this consistently, where the Yatoro kind of shifts between the 1 and the 3 position almost. He kind of plays like more of a supportive player from the carry position. He'll buy the carry items, but you see it, look at his item queues up. He has Echo Saber into Blink. He recognizes that's going to be his job this game.
Top lane. An attempt on to Collapse. There's a lot here with the burn of the Sunray, using the Supernova as well, but Collapse is going to be able to walk out of the range of it all, so...
Yeah, the lack of the Urn Charge. They just don't have enough Urn Charges to chase him down there.
At the same time that was happening, Spirit did have a bit of a poke at the mid. The remainder of VP's lineup in position to stop it. And VP, again, just getting themselves to the jungle. You see Save and DM consistently pushing Spirit out of this, their half of the map down.
They also, VP recognizes, right, even though we didn't kill the Doom, he's out of resources, so he can't fight. What does that mean? That means that T.Spirit has to draw back on the map, and VP are allowed to walk up to this tower. They know that they have a timing until Doom regions up, until they have to reset back.
This tower, nothing can be done. They will get the deny at least, but inevitable pressure from VP in their push of DM and his summons. It's building up.
Yep.
And if they can get these objectives, they will keep the gap pretty small between the farm of both the teams.
I mean, I think T.Spirit right now, they're just trying to greed up for their BKBs. As soon as they get the BKBs, that's going to be their timing to fight. But VP are controlling so much more map space, the way the map looks right now. And if you look at the Luna, she's just catching up. She started at the bottom of the cores, now she's in 2nd place and almost caught up to the Doom. So I feel like if you're Spirit, you're not too happy with this pace, but maybe you have to accept it until BKBs come out, as Doom's caught once more.
It's going to have the back of a Yatoro though, Collapse. He's ready to try and turn. GPK into the trees to dodge Collapse, trying to get the ult off. Now the ult comes in from the Luna as Nightfall turns up to the fight. Not enough beams to burst through Collapse's Doom though. Both teams able to step back. An Eclipse and a Doom gone to waste for each respective side.
Yep, expect the smoke here from VP, right? There's no Doom, they're weak. This is going to be their time to pounce, and immediately they smoke up. They have no cooldowns. They have this Quaspex Invoker that's constantly able to fight and run around. And even the mana situation on T.Spirit is something that we need to keep close track of, because if they burn the mana, the hero is no longer a hero, right? It goes for almost every single hero that they have on their team. Lina needs the mana. Doom needs the mana.
Quick 9 mana set things up. It's close to tier 2 tower, but they've got so many up here. They'll even use the roar.
Yeah, great kill. They just want to buy space for Nightfall. And he's closing in on that BKB. I feel like every minute that ticks by, oh no, Collapse.
Oh, that was rather a greedy attempt at a TP. They'll hide in the trees, but they found him more money for the Luna.
Yeah, this Luna's getting scary fat, and I think once we see the Luna ready to start team fighting, expect that Roshan attempt. This Roshan's going to be so important, because if you think about Team Spirit's heroes, Tiny has basically a spell combo the way he's itemizing, right? Going for the blink, not really going to be the big auto attacker that we're used to seeing during this tournament. Lina as well relies on her ultimate, relies on her BKB to fight. Same thing goes for Doom. He just wants to Doom a guy and push for him to die, so Aegis is going to be huge.
GPK just been a huge nuisance there, forcing Yatoro back each and every time with that EMP.
It really does feel like the GPK show. He's everywhere, right?
He is. He's right in their faces.
Oh, Fiend's Grip coming out on the silencer. Even giving the kill.
Now we're able to blow up the Phoenix. So the trade is found here.
Yeah. Laguna Blade used. So is Fiend's Grip. But yeah, for Spirits, it's just try to get this blink on Yatoro, try to finish up the BKB. You have it on Lina now, you have it on Doom, and then once they get that blink on Yatoro, that should hopefully be their cue to try to find a fight for themselves. Because if the game continues like this, the way the map's set up just heavily favors VP.
Yeah, this, Nightfall Luna, as you mentioned before, very much on track to be able to carry this completely in any sort of action they bring them, as long as they can protect her from being doomed. And so far, things look to be pretty good for VP in that sense. Top lane, Yatoro trying to push out the wave. That's the Tiny going down. Nightfall again picking up the glory. I mean, he's been having all this space on this half of the map, and we're seeing him get some very nice kills here with the way that Team Spirit seem to be just sending one core up there at a time.
It's just abusing the night vision from the Lunar Blessing, right? Luna can see you when you can't see her, so she's able to scout that out as she comes towards that camp and farm. And, this is the perfect kill for them. If Tiny doesn't get Blink, that gives them opportunities to keep farming and keep fighting and keep deciding what's going to happen in this game. And now they have that Aegis. I think this is massive for them. Game firmly in control for Virtus.Pro, I'd say.
Yeah. They're hitting the timings they're down for. Save. Forcing some TPs in here around the mid. So we'll be there to ensure that nothing else follows up from VP.
Yeah, I'm sure Yatoro right now is saying, don't fight, I just want my Blink. I just need his 400 gold. And it's going to be hard to find.
And look at this. GPK starts the fight on top of the silencer. So Miposhka, no chance to return fire with a setup of a global. GPK is coming in from all the angles that Spirit least expect.
That's just great recognition from VP, right? They know where the Tiny's going to go to farm. The Tiny was right there.
I mean, this save Bane, so many games, it's just set up so much. And the show continues from the map. Instantly just able to buy time with the Nightmare for VP to join up. And VP, the triple kill on GPK. This, he's getting out of control. This Invoker 4-1 and 5, he is hitting full momentum. And it is, as you say, complete control of the map. Spirit, they've got to get a grip somehow.
Yeah, they're hitting their item timings, though. It's important to note Team Spirit's team fight is not weak. They're very much capable of fighting back into this fight once they're able to group up. And in order to group up, they need to finish up these items, and now they have.
Fine save. Save. Should be pretty dead here. Tries to juke his way out of things, but with the vision down, there's no hiding in the trees.
Yep, Blink Doom, global ready. They still have the Snapfire ult. This is a good timing for them to start looking for some sort of fight. Ooh, they see the Luna. Seems like they want the Invoker, though. They feel like they can't go on the Luna with the Aegis without it being a bad fight for them, so...
Yeah. They've got to do something about GPK. He's been getting away with so much, they'll find him! Jump in the combos there, GPK out of the game.
Yeah, Doom wasn't even needed to be used there, so... They still have the capability of fighting into VP. And if you take a look at VP's wards, they're set up very... Team Spirit's wards, they're set up very defensively in their own jungle. And that's really where they're going to be looking to punish VP if they overextend, as they're heading over towards their vision to play close to it. So if DM shows himself on these wards, expect to pounce immediately.
Nightfall. Still, of course, very ready to fight with the BKB and the Aegis who commit onto Collapse, but Collapse has got the BKB, they turn straight away, they burst through the Luna. It's the first life of Nightfall gone.
Yeah, 2 BKBs burnt though, so they recognize that they can no longer fight this, and they immediately reset back without any casualties. So VP now have an opening during the BKB downtime to try to find some sort of fight. If they can do it, this was an Aegis well spent.
Spirit, they know, even with that Aegis taken away from VP, very much ready to brawl and try and see if they can get the jump. Nightfall's going for the Ancients. That means Yatoro's able to get the lead and toss it back, but the BKB's out in time. Kiss is coming in from the side. VP still heading it onto Yatoro with a cold snap. Yatoro is in trouble, goes down, set up into the Raw, Sunstrike. They blow up Mirror as well. Spirit, they try and take a fight. I mean, I guess they just completely underestimated VP's potential to turn if Nightfall gets his BKB off.
I think that was as simple as just some simple miscommunication. Had Yatoro maybe yelled that out half a second faster, he gets a Doom off while he's in the air, that looks completely different. Luna's immediately dead, and you're going to see T.Spirit running at them. But unfortunately, the communication just looked like it was slightly off there. And that just leads to the polar opposite team fight, right? They have to reset back to lose Yatoro, and Snapfire ult now expended.
Yatoro, of course, queuing up that BKB, but he's quite the while away from it. See Toronto Tokyo doing the classic Shadow Amulet setup here. Very
He's
sneaky.
been practicing this in pubs.
He has. I'll tell you what, I wish that's what happened in my games when my teammates got the Shadow Amulet.
Yeah, mine too, Owen.
Oh, save.
How does he do this? How is he just
He's just
always
there,
where
isn't
they
he? He's
are?
always there. Nightmares from everywhere. Feeds grip at the ready. Ooh. Global will be used, but the time's been brought in. Nightfall's going to be charging over towards Toronto Tokyo.
This is an opening, though.
I mean, the rest of Spirit are looking to connect with Toronto Tokyo. In fact, they're going to find GPK. They knew that GPK would be looking for that wraparound, and it all ends up working out for Spirit. They read and they get into the mind of GPK this time.
Yeah, just beautiful understanding of the game, right? They understand we use global. That's going to give VP the cue to group up and look for some fight. And they've decided to smoke to their Lina, find a rotating invoker. Just really high level thinking here from Team Spirit. Something important to note as this game does continue on into the late game, you traditionally see your Lunas buying items like Eye of Sky, or sorry, Satanic, right? In order to survive the team fights. She won't really have that luxury in this game. He should be expected to get doomed in almost every single fight. So it's going to be hard for VP, I think, after a certain point in this game, to keep scaling up, to keep relying on the Luna to output all of their damage. So for VP, it's going to be about hitting the Scotty timing on Luna and then looking to try to zone them into their base again, grab the second Aegis, and then apply the high ground pressure. You see the Luna also has skipped the Shard. This is because he's planning on getting the next Roche. There's no Luna Shard. He wants that from Roshan for free.
Toronto Tokyo setting up in the mid. They open up the light strike. Ray Laguna Blade as well. They're in onto the Luna. Nightfall down. Huge kill. Super swift move from Toronto Tokyo. I mean, they knew he had the amulet, but of course, getting that blade completed in between that last blade top and this play now, they weren't quite prepared for that, and Nightfall just completely misreads that item would have been online when it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time this Luna goes down, it's a huge opening for Team Spirit. They scale up really nicely into this game. They're going to have Shiva's Guard on Doom. They're going to have a second round of Doom. And Tiny is now recognizing that, you know what? I'm finally getting some space. I'm finally finding my farm on the map. He's going to go for BKB, and then he's going to look for that classic item build in the Silver Edge.
VP, not to be put down here. They are still sweeping into the jungle, despite the fact that Nightfall's out of action. Maybe seeing if they can catch Nia Spirit off guard. It's going to be hard though. Spirit grouped up as 4 around the mid. Toronto Tokyo will head back to reset, get that mana up. BKB Silver Edge, he's starting to gear up to be rather terrifying on this Lina. If they don't get on top of him, no longer does it really matter if Yatoro's the first one to die in this fight. Toronto Tokyo is going to be dishing out the damage.
Yep, he absolutely will. And you know, the story of the 4 Protect 1 still continues for VP. If you take a look at their items, GPK is building a Linken's. They're building Lotus Orb on the Beastmasters. They really want to protect this Luna. This is going to be all about the Luna for them. So, are they going to be able to do it, or is Team Spirit's just Tricore too strong?
I mean, it's as you said, it's always a risk. Always a risk, this 4 Protect 1 against the Doom.
Yep, it absolutely is.
Radiant's middle tower.
We saw VP here very aggressive on the dive inside the base last game. They're looking for something similar here in Toronto Tokyo. Cold snap.
Grab grip straight away. Global, it's in play.
Man, this Global's come in huge front of Tokyo twice now. It's really stopping VP from making the pickoffs that they want, but it's still an opening, right? No Global. Roshan could spawn in 20 seconds if VP's lucky.
And if they're able to clean up that Roche, that pretty much will be the money for Nightfall to have that Skadi complete. So very close to this next sort of power spike when they'll have the tools and able to get out. Ooh, a little close there top with the tornado, but the TP's out in time. Spirit's away.
Yeah, and we saw this in the last game too. When Roshan's about to come up, where does VP go? Well, straight into the Radiant Triangle.
Yep.
Control the space. Make sure they're pushing in the top lane. Make sure you're pushing in the mid lane. Force T.Spirit to come to you and fight under your vision.
Oh, they're coming. Smoke up from Spirit, ready to head out the base.
And you see Spirit, they're dodging this ramp that's closest to the ward because they recognize that there's most likely going to be vision there. And they're just running all the way up through the top lane to make sure that they avoid any sort of fight under VP's vision.
This is going to be pretty huge as Spirit can catch them off guard, but Lincoln's now complete on GPK, so we'll be there for the next fight. They've also got the Lotus Orb on the Beastmaster.
Ooh,
GPK.
they saw the Lina.
They did. Toronto-Tokyo's got to be cautious. And in close, Tori's in with the jump straight away after the Luna. The Nightmare is mine time. Is he going to keep him blind? It's not. The Doom still comes down. Nightfall to go down. Turn with the Roar onto this Lina as Toronto-Tokyo Supernova stun in the face as well. As the Lina down, VP, they want to try and chase on for more, and they're going to find the Poshka. Cold Snap into the Sun Ray. He freezes and burns at the same time.
Okay, but Nightfall's buyback was expended. If Roshan does not spawn for them
and it's
within the timer, this is very good for T.Spirit. You see how fast this Luna dies. They're not able to keep her alive. They need the Aegis. Unless she can dodge out some of these spells, she's going to be dying.
Top lane collapse. Very close to being caught there by GPK. He's going to go out for the TP around the tree line. He's out.
That beautiful juke. He tried to use the Sunstrike to provide him with vision to cancel the TP, but unfortunately just didn't. If you're VP right now, you're praying that Roshan spawns. They don't know the timer the way we do.
Absolutely not. It's not going to be up until Spirit do have the full lineup back up. Sure, the Doom itself won't be back online. Still about a 30-second window between that and the Roshan, but everything else, it will be there. And then we are seeing if Yutoro gets that lead in, even without the ultimate from the Doom, that initiation and time for them to throw everything out, it's enough.
Yeah,
see mid DM. He's going to go for the Roar onto the Doom and collapse. I think he's going to be all right. Does have to use the BKB here to run out the Sunray. But now, that's another threat that won't be there for the Roshan. DM, no Roar.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at the bottom rune. Take a look at what's at the bottom rune.
Oh, and look who's near it. Nightfall is around if he catches vision of it. This could be exactly what they need around to fight. Now, this Roshan, as we said, it's not going to be too easy for VP, with Spirit being back up.
Yeah, Roshan's up. I'm sure they're thinking about it right now.
Who's going to check out that DD? It's still there. Need the team with eyes on it.
Yeah.
No one going to check it. Save. You won't be here for this Roshan. No buyback on save.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for T.Spirit to try to look to make some sort of map control play, de-ward the potential wards that VP might have in their triangle, gain control of that area, and here you go. Poshka finds it right away. He has a gem and 2 sentries. That's how committed he is to making sure that there's no vision on them.
And this is going to be huge. The buyback comes out from save. They want to do everything to maintain control of the Roche. It's back up. GPK did see the DD. I imagine Nightfall is going to head over to pick it up. He's going to be able to grab it before it disappears. So DD rune at the ready. Yep. Still just 200 gold really off that Skadi. Would have been great for him if he could somehow get that online before the fight. VP, they're already smoked up around mid, ready for someone to step at Toronto-Tokyo's got to be cautious.
He absolutely has to be cautious. He is their source of damage. He's their answer for the egg. If he doesn't get to stand his ground in the fights, it could be very, very hard for T.Spirit. Just the same as if the Luna goes down. Without the Lina, they just don't have that firepower to really finish targets off as the Skadi finishes, but this DD was most likely not going to get used for anything.
No, it's going to run out soon.
Both teams recognize this Roshan's everything. Yep. Whoever gets it is going to have a huge advantage.
Buybacks are pretty important as well. GPK just 50 gold off his, so he's close to... Yeah, he's going to have it. So there will be buybacks available across the board, really.
Yep.
And they will certainly be coming out around this Roshan, especially once some of the bigger ultimates have been used. If VPC, the Doom drop, Global Silence popped, they will absolutely invest those buybacks to secure Roshan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're Spirit here, you're probably thinking, do we want to use this opportunity while the Luna's buyback is on cooldown? And like, is it worth running into the vision to get that opportunity, or is it not? I'm sure that's the kind of conversation that's going on in their booth right now. Do we want to run in, fight when Luna can't, or do we want to wait for them to come to us?
I mean, when you look at these two teams at the moment, when they're playing sort of around the stalemate near the Roshan, who is it easier for to start the fight?
I don't actually think it's easier for either team. You have the Hawk and VP to smoke behind, but you know, you expect there to be some sort of sentry, and if they spot the Hawk coming into their triangle, you know what's coming next. That's a smoked up VP behind it. So both teams understanding that it's very, very hard to move into each other. But I just have to imagine you're thinking about it if you're T.Spirit. It'd just be so juicy. You know, the Luna has no buyback, and you know she has no buyback.
Nearly still 4 minutes on that buyback cooldown for Nightfall. See, DM, he did have the money for the blink. He's maybe holding off in case he himself does want to keep the buyback available, so he can get back over to that outpost and offer up his services if he's the one that gets initiated upon. The VP, they're going to start things off here in the pit. They're going to he's all right. He's not going to find Nightfall. Nightfall aiming at the BKB up. The Tornado comes out at the same time with the group as well. They've locked down the Doom. Collapse has been found. Instant buyback from Collapse. DM ticking down low to the Curse. They'll try and get the Beastmaster out of there. Will DM go down the once? A bit of a heal from the Stone Rage. Will keep DM protected. So all in all, it's the Doom having to expend the buyback.
The Lina still has BKB.
And huge. He walked straight into it. You see the step up for GPK. The Doom is down. Dropped onto the Luna. The Lotus was there, so having to deal with the Doom himself, but he got his job done. Collapse. He doesn't mind taking his own Doom. As that's Nightfall down for 100 seconds. GPK did buy back. But a bit of a very risky way for GPK to try and approach that fight. Walking in, he's got to be almost certain that T.Spirit have the sentry down.
They actually did sentry their ward first, so just great positioning by Impostor, running in as fast as possible, dropping that sentry and ward.
It's alright. Never great job. He's got the silent. He's got him. Can they heal off?
Great EMP.
They're burning through. You told him to get around GPK. He goes straight over towards the Invoker. GPK tries to push him back with a deafening block, but GPK goes down. Kingslayer will kill off your turret, but another light strike from Toronto Tokyo. Sets up for the kill on Kingslayer. He's now ready to go over towards DM. DM trying to step away. See if they've got the chase down, able to remove the debuff with the Lotus Orb. DM. He's going to be found by the slow from Mirror. Break it comes in, the little shredder. It'll get the job done, surely.
Immediate buyback. They don't want to give up Roshan. They understand. Maybe we can't kill them, but as long as there's 3 of us alive, they won't be willing to go into the Roche pit because it's going to cost them too many resources and it'll drop too low from trying to tank Roshan. So the stalemate continues. I think it does. VP, they survived the no buyback Luna here. It's huge for them.
They did. Indeed, even in a situation where you look at the death timers and GPK and Nightfall down at the moment, as you say, with what they're able to hit back with, there's almost certainly going to be time for at least Nightfall to get back in before anything kicks off again. We'll see this fight once more. You said we're just great read of getting that sentry down.
Actually. They're attempting to get the Roshan.
They are. Toronto Tokyo's trying. The Roar comes out, but the Lotus is there. The Roar back onto him on his own self. DM's in trouble. DM, he's still alive. They're trying to heal. Kingslayer keeps DM alive.
Oh my god, how
Roshan is so low. Toronto Tokyo wants to set back in. Light strike, where it's going to miss. He doesn't catch even on stage because the global silence comes out. Toronto Tokyo commits to finish off the Roshan. They get it, T.Spirit.
Oh, it's so huge. But are they out?
Oh, the birds! They're coming in on Toronto Tokyo, but he's out. Lotus and the Silver Edge, he'll disappear. Mirror will get left behind. They're tempted to go back in. Toronto Tokyo wants to take down Nightfall. He's in with the Laguna, forces out the BKB from Nightfall. But they got what they came for. Aegis on Toronto Tokyo. Spirit able to sneak in and take it.
Absolutely. This is huge because it slows down VP's game plan. VP's game plan was to try to win the game on the second Aegis. Now, if they're even going to have a chance to win the game, they need to make sure that they get the next one that comes up. And in order to even just get there, they have to survive the second Aegis. So for VP, you're not really thinking about your game plan anymore. You're off the win condition that you initially tried to set up, and your mindset is just like, okay, how do we survive the next 10, 11 minutes until Roshan spawns again?
I mean, and how do you have to just go full defensive?
I think like every single team approaches this in a different way. Some teams start split pushing really heavily. Some teams like to group up and like play on the defense. When I think of VP, I feel like they're traditionally a team that likes to play when they're in control. They're rarely put in this position, right? They left the DPC with I think 14 wins, 0 losses. They're not used to being put behind like this. So I think this is a tough position for VP to be in, and it's a position I would imagine they don't have a lot of practice in either.
Definitely a scary time for them to be put in that position here. Game 3 in an elimination series here at the International.
Yep. We have some big items coming up soon. I think if you're Team Spirit, you're starting to think about, all right, how do we set up this timing to be as strong as possible for us?
Safe.
You have... Brave. Doom, closing in on the refresher. Lina's eyeing up that Hex. And you see Yatora's finally coming around to that auto attack build. He has the shard. I believe he got it from Roshan. And
I think that, yeah, was the second one.
Yeah, Silver Edge finished up, and he's going to start looking at that AC. So he's going to turn into a third carry. We talked about how he kind of started his game off more as an offlaner than he was a carry, and now he's slowly shifting back into that carry position.
Yeah, he certainly is. Closing the gap on Nightfall's Luna. Just 1k between them now. Spirit out with the smoke. They know they're ahead. 8k advantage right now off the back of that last sort of few minute long fight around the Roshan.
Yeah. Save is closing in on a Aghanim sector, I believe. But he does have a Force Staff queued up, so it might change his mind at any given time.
VP know though. 3 of them. Right up by their tier 3s. They know how strong Spirit is here.
Yep. Spirit also respecting Virtus.Pro's ability to fight. If they can hold a high ground on vision, it's going to be very difficult for them to run into. So they're keeping their formation, making sure they're always moving in with the right heroes in front. And that, in this case, is the Aegis Lina. Also, Lincoln Sphere finished up on the Lina, so very hard for the Virtus.Pro initiators to really get on top of her. The only real initiation they have to catch her is some sort of Enfeeble from Bane, coordinated with the Roar from the Beastmaster, so it's going to be a 2-player initiation. You gotta make sure you have that coordination on point.
As we're seeing one of them always put to a stop thanks to the global potential. So further limiting the way they can start off the action, VP.
T.Spirit playing with so much discipline though. Look at it. Tiny's not walking up to clap the tower because unless he knows he's safe. Really playing this patiently. Just walks up, hits it twice, backs off. You know, they understand. Yeah. We cannot give away the wrong target. We might be stronger, but it's only under the right circumstances. As long as we play it right, we will edge out in the fights. Make one mistake, and it's not the case. We see Luna eyeing up the Satanic. This is an item, you know, I think is really hard to use against Doom, but they have 2 Lotus Orbs and a Lincoln Sphere, so it's all about keeping this Luna alive. If she's able to live, if she's gonna be able to stay alive and use that Satanic, that might be a game changer.
Bottom! Global straight away, of course, to keep Toronto Tokyo safe. That's gonna be saved dead.
Yeah, and he did just finish up that Aghanims, and I'm sure T.Spirit saw that. And Bane is not a hero that has a lot of gold, so they should be thinking to themselves, most likely this Bane does not have a buyback.
Especially now with the refresher done on Collapse. They'll be very happy to make the moves. Aegis timing out. But that ability to pretty much even guarantee a Doom on 1 target, or if Collapse is able to find them grouped up, get the Doom down onto 2.
Yep, Spirit has really nice vision set up though on the top side of the map. And when you're playing Radiant, this is where you want vision if you want to wait for the next Rosh shot. This is going to give Spirit an advantage going into the next Rosh fight. You know, maybe recognizing we don't have the best high ground tools yet. We need the AC on the Tiny in order to go high ground. So they're just playing it patient. They understand with a second Aegis, all we needed to do was take map control and make sure that VP has to fight us under our circumstances. And they're recognizing that, you know what, our Lina probably outscales most heroes in this game at this point. VP doesn't really have great heroes to catch people in the back line. So just really good game understanding from Spirit. Are we gonna see a Rax trade?
I mean, someone's gonna surely back off. I mean, GPK is here trying to hold them off of this damage. My goodness, the base not standing a chance. It's gone, the Rax, they're done for.
Kingslayer TP cancels, no Phoenix in base.
Collapse. Can he keep himself on top of DM? He's going to be met by the wraparound of Toronto Tokyo. It's a dead Beastmaster for sure. Rax taken, Rax defended. DM down, no buyback for 50 seconds.
Yeah, huge opening for Team Spirit. You saw how fast they killed that Rax in the top lane if they want to. Expect them to start looking for that middle lane next. I don't even know how VP hold them off. I can't even think of a scenario in which this defense works.
I mean, as we see, sort of just 1 death and the barracks will be gone. They've got so much pushing power here.
Yep, Nightfall using the ninja gear to smoke himself up, then puts in the Elven Tunic. Just trying to get every little bit that he can out of his hero right now.
Has to be so careful. Spirit, if they get any sort of jump, it could be game over for VP.
Spirit playing it so patiently though. They're not giving it to VP, they're refusing to overextend. I'm sure if you're VP right now, you're feeling the pressure. You understand, you know what? Our game plan was not this. This is not the position in the game we wanted to be in. And I think this is the position where you start making mistakes. So for VP, it's going to be, how can we stay as disciplined as possible? They have the gold for the Satanic on the Luna, but he's not buying it just quite yet.
I mean, buyback's going to be so important at this stage. Especially when you're playing the 4 Protect 1. You're doing it against a Doom, you have to be sure that you're there for a second round in the fight if they get the jump on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for VP, you want to try to find these wards. These 2 wards that are alive for T.Spirit, they're huge. This is what's not preventing VP from moving over into towards the Roshan side. And they must be going through VP sets. They must be thinking about the vision that T.Spirit has right now. They have 4 wards on the map. They basically see everything. They're controlling both the Dire jungles, and there's no way VP's playing on the Radiant side, right? So T.Spirit are basically playing with map pack at this point of the game. Neposhka's had a great game. We actually haven't touched on it, but he's been playing amazingly well. The globals have been on point. I think he saved Toronto Tokyo 3 times.
He has, from save.
Without those saves, he wouldn't be at like 28,000 net worth at this point in the game.
No, it's, you know, with how well Save plays his Bane, it's one of those things that when you see it in practice and how good Neposhka makes it look, you kind of wonder why other teams haven't done this as a direct answer. It really ruins that sort of flow that the VP want to play. We saw in previous games of this series where they just go kill to kill with the setup. Mid lane, you're going to catch up to Toronto Tokyo with the roar. The global comes out, but Toronto Tokyo, he's not surviving this. BKB popped, it won't keep him alive, he's dead. 100 seconds. I mean, Roshan, it's up in a minute, so there'll be about a 40-second window when Roche is up. The Lina isn't. See if VP's able to make anything work with this.
Yeah, so VP, you know what? They decide like halfway through the potential Roshan spawn timer. So for those of you who don't know, Roshan can spawn in a random timer between 8 to 11 minutes from the last time that he died. VP decided to smoke during that gap. Unfortunately for them again, Roshan doesn't spawn during the timer where they're strong and T.Spirit are weak. But like you touched on, they will have an opening.
There's a little window. It depends how quickly they spot it out and if it's going to be enough. You know, yes, there are hawks everywhere. They will see as soon as it's up. But T.Spirit, of course, still very scary with just the 4 of them. With the lead that they have, 15k up as a team right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them fight it.
Yeah. Absolutely. The buyback status as well is not quite as good for Spirit. Still 3 of their heroes without the money for the buyback. You see on VP, they're playing it much more cautious. Everybody buyback at the ready.
Yep, they understand that, you know, if we don't get this Roshan, it's done. There is no item in the game that's more valuable for us than this Aegis. So it really is going to come down to Roche, and it spawns the refresher.
30 seconds, no Toronto Tokyo. This is ideal for VP. Some crucial components in the start of a potential turnaround. As the Roche, it's all theirs. Spirit nowhere near to be seen. Aegis, Refresher Shard, and again, no love for the cheese.
They don't like cheese on VP.
Yeah, okay. All right. I mean, that
could potentially be game-changing.
I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
You've got to use everything you get to get back in on this one. You're down at the moment. Cheese left behind.
If they lose this game, they're going to regret that a lot.
They are. They really are.
Yeah. Once again, we have a standoff. VP now finally getting rid of these pesky wards.
Look at this Toronto Tokyo. He's in with the burst straight away. They've got the grid coming out of the globals there. Nightfall being fully focused down by Toronto Tokyo. Nightfall to go down.
He's standing his ground alone against 4 heroes on Toronto Tokyo.
He's got the backup coming in. He needs it. Jump forward for collapse. The Doom goes down. Finds his target. If they can get any follow-up, the kisses are coming in. They're having a backup refresher. Pop by collapse. He's ready to go in once more. They're healing up the Luna. The tree hit comes in hard. Nightfall still alive for now. GPK trying to force back the rest of Spirit. They know no Lina for 80 seconds, but VP, they will be cautious. They won't try and push on for any more. They'll accept it as it is.
Surely they know this Lina has no buyback, right? I don't know, actually. Who plays like a madman? I mean, it's so hard to understand.
I was going to say, Spirit is playing without buyback on some of their cores in a way that, as you say, you just wouldn't expect them to do so. So VP may be hesitant due to the fact that they feel that the Toronto Tokyo could still make a re-entry here. We'll see how hard they do push it.
Yeah. Important to note, Doom refreshed. He has 1 more Doom ready, but so did Phoenix. The refresher shard has been expended. So there's another egg on Virtus.Pro side too.
Sora's going to step in his start, cleaning up the creeps. BKB has to come out. That's Nightfall. Starting to focus the damage onto the base. Fortification out. Then they're going to realize soon that this Lina ain't returning for 30 seconds still.
I love this from VP. As Kyle famously said, that's playing to win, baby.
Dirax, it's theirs. VP starting to equalize the state of each bases.
So when you see the buyback timer hit about 15 seconds, you kind of know this guy won't buy back. Even if he has it at this point, he's not going to expend it. So, you know, VP, they don't really have any information to play with here. They're just going to back off, probably thinking, you know what, next Roshan. It's unfortunate for all the people watching, but I think that's really what it's going to come down to.
I mean, next Roshan as well, someone's going to get a bonus cheese out of it.
Oh, right, that's right.
So it's going to be even more of a reward for whichever side grabs it.
Yep, so we got Invoker eyeing up a Hex. We have DM eyeing up a BKB. And, you know, for Phoenix, I'd say maybe try to start farming that Refresher. They need that. The Sunray seems to be crucial. He actually doesn't have the Aghanim Shard. I'm quite surprised by that.
Oh, see, now they picked up the cheese now. GPK. Finally finding it here, so...
I think if you're VP, really the dream teamfight scenario is finding that silencer, but it's going to be really, really hard. Deposhka is just hiding very well. He almost has a Refresher, by the way.
So they want to jump Toronto Tokyo. Looks like a bit of a bait. There's the jump. Yatoro collapses straight over the high ground. They're in on the Kicksave. Kicksave gets the supernova. Doom down onto the Luna, but with the egg out, there's no Sunray to help the Luna as life falls out. GPK will turn with the BKB to commit back onto Collapse. So 2 for 1 with Save buying back. We're also going to have a buyback for Collapse because Toronto Tokyo, he's just charging in on VP. VP having a run. GPK can't stop. They've got the grip from the lower ground, but Yatoro jumps in with the Avalanche. Can't quite find the Bane though. The grip persisting, holding back Toronto Tokyo. It doesn't matter though. Yatoro, he's got enough damage on his own to finish off GPK whilst Toronto Tokyo's held back.
Buybacks were expended though. You no longer have buyback on Collapse and no more buyback on Save. So VP now, because they didn't use the buybacks on their cores, they're going to get a fight in their team fight. And they have the roar ready. So most likely what you're going to see is some sort of initiation attempt come out from VP into the immediate buybacks.
Sure. But if you are Spirit, you do want to force these buybacks out, right?
Absolutely. If you don't get the buybacks out, you're fighting at a numbers disadvantage at the next row.
So you're getting the buybacks and then you're getting out of there, or what?
I think that's great, but you'd never know. Spirit has been playing very aggressively this game, and they might as well just commit for it. Who knows? They want the Luna, though. It's not enough with the Invoker. They want both for sure.
It's the fortification, so that's something.
Yep. Spirit reading the fact that VP want initiation before they blink in, so they're dropping the Lotus Orb prematurely here.
Can they get that Nightfall buyback? It's only 20 seconds. Looks like Team Spirit are going to back off, not feeling that they can pressure it out any longer.
Yep. Still in a comfortable position, Spirit. They have been able to take over the map now, and they have their heroes wherever they want to be. So VP need to be scared when they move out of their base. And you notice how they're swinging up to the top side of the map? Well, that's because they saw Team Spirit at the bottom. So don't really want to run into a potential Team Spirit sitting on a high ground situation anywhere.
Now they come VP. Cheese has been passed over to Nightfall for the next move.
Yep, this move is coming out a little bit prematurely. Roshan can't really spawn yet, so even if you get kills here, you won't get the Aegis. And I would say this is probably due to the fact that it's, you know, TI, Game 3. They feel the pressure.
Toronto Tokyo's heading in. He's going to get the Light Strike array down onto Nightfall. But they want to jump. The Shittori's looking to try and get him from the side. He's got his eyes on DM. Nightfall charging in onto Toronto Tokyo, but doesn't want to go any further. Tiger Shittori's in with the combo. Nightfall plots the BKB. BKB out for now. VP are having to reset. The BKB is going to wear off on him, and DM's already used it as well. Toronto Tokyo coming in with the BKB. The global side is shooting the X out, but it's immediately taken down. Hex from GPK onto Toronto Tokyo. Buyback straight up from Kingslayer. Mirrors in with a 4-man slow. Yatoro in with a 3-man combo. Triple kill for Yatoro. Collapse got the Doom down onto DM. They're chasing up the Beastmaster. DM's out of action. Buybacks from both Nightfall and DM, but Save and GPK, they do not have the luxury of returning to this fight.
This Tiny is going to chonk down those base towers, and they have buyback on Lina, on Tiny, on Snapfire, and Silencer. It's only the Doom, and his job is done, right? He's taken out 2 heroes. He's used his Doom. So whether he lives or dies here in this next fight, it doesn't really matter. For Team Spirit, Now you just gotta stay focused, make sure you keep the right players in front, don't make any mistakes, and this game is very likely gonna be yours.
They're so close to grabbing it here, Spirit. One more good jump from Collapse with a Doom, and it's pretty much gonna be game over for VP. There it is. The jump's in, they're on to Nightfall. He stands no chance at all, and the Luna will fall. Kingslayer as well. GG is called as T.Spirit knock VP out of the competition.
Oh man, who would have believed this coming into TI? T.Spirit, I don't think they've ever beaten VP in an official before. Finally, at TI.
At TI.
Overcome it.
What a time to do it. VP, they've always looked like that unstoppable beast of the region, and Spirit, I mean, you could already feel it in the series leading up to this. Spirit getting that magic, that LAN performance from some of these new faces that before TI you wouldn't have expected to see, but the confidence they're displaying on this main stage in games like